is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
Dover International Speedway, known for its high banking and high speeds, nicknamed the Monster Mile for its ability to crush cars and chew up championship hopes. Today, the Dodge Dealers 400, the second race in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup.
There's only one purpose, only one goal. And the men chasing the Nextel Cup want to be called only one word.
Champion. If I can't win it, then it can't be won. I focus on the game till I made it, son. So how you like me now? I said it, I meant it, I did it, baby.
The season starts here with the nuts and bolts of internal combustion. Here they build cars and dreams of a first ever first place finish, of back-to-back championships, of another milestone in a legendary career, and of outrunning 42 others looking to make their own dreams come true. They build to send a work of art to a metal-bending monster, hoping their creation can stand the test.
I'm a champion. If I can't win it, then it can't be won. I focus on the game till I made it, son. So how you like me now? I said it, I meant it, I did it, baby.
In the shop, cars are built. But in the chase for the Nextel Cup, history is made.
The countdown is on. One race down, 9 to go in the chase for the Nextel Cup. 12 drivers, 1 championship. The Cinderella story so far, Clint Bowyer, who picked up the first win of his Cup career last week. But Clint and the rest still chasing teammates Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson tied at the top of the point standings. We'll hear from all of them, as well as Dale Earnhardt Jr. as NASCAR's most popular driver unveils his future. Hi everyone, welcome into our pit studio here at the Monster Mile and overlooking Pit Road, one of the most dangerous pit roads in the business. In fact, there isn't anything that's not scary about this place. Susie Culver with the champ, Rusty Wallace, and with the winning owner, Brad Daugherty. Guys, I think that Jeff Burton said it best. You want this track in the chase because it's so tough on cars and drivers.
And talk about tough, it's tough on everything, you're right. One of the toughest parts here at this racetrack, though, is exit at turn 4 and exit at turn 2, because if you get that wrong, you're going to get yourself in a big crash. And if you don't crash there, you come down this very narrow pit road and you pull out of your pit spot, here comes another car. You see the right front fender's getting tore up a lot out of the cars exiting their pit boxes. Very tight road. A lot of things going wrong down there.
And that's what makes the chase so great. We have the multiple disciplines that the guys get to go through. You have the mile-and-a-half tracks, which are the bread and butter of this series. Then you have the Bristols, and then you have Dover, the larger form of Bristol. You know, it eats up machinery. It's hard on the drivers. It's hard on the race cars. Strategy gets thrown out of the window sometimes because of the metal getting bent. So it's a lot of fun to watch.
This is a track that demands everything out of everybody, and that's why you want this race to be in the chase. So our 12 championship contenders will have their work cut out. Here's how they stand. Jimmy on the pole today, locked up top with Jeff. Tony Stewart just 10 points back. And look at Clint Bowyer, who gained 8 spots after his dominating win last week. How did the former Midwest motocross racer break through? His dad, Chris, up in the spotter's box last week, recounts the final laps of Clint's first win.
I was up on the roof in the spotter stand. I don't talk on the radio during the race, but I listened. He was totally losing it in the car. Oh, I wanted so bad to just tell him to take some deep breaths on that back straightaway and get himself under control.
Yes! Yes, yes, yes! Woo! I knew he could do it. Good job, boys.
I wanted to see the burnout real bad. Then I missed 3/4 of the celebration down in Victory Lane. I just grabbed him, get him a big hug, and then you just kind of sat down in the corner and just stayed somewhere and take it all in, you know, and wonder how in the world this happened.
Well, for the first time Clint Bowyer returns to the racetrack as a race winner. But on Friday, it was back to reality, Clint. The nature of NASCAR as it is. What happened to you in qualifying? You had to use a provisional here.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had a little disagreement getting into turn one, and it didn't get any better. It was just way too loose. We just over-adjusted, and you know, that's how close this sport is, you know, how competitive it is. Went from hero to zero, the penthouse to the outhouse.
Everybody talks about the importance of starting up front here. You're starting 42nd. What is the key to passing here and getting yourself to the front?
Well, we worked on that. You know, certainly I knew that we had to do a lot of passing, and you got to be on the bottom. The cars will get tight, and they just can't keep it on the bottom. They'll wash up. So our car's working really good on the bottom. I think the biggest challenge for us is obviously going to be getting up and getting some track position, because we all know it's important with these cars. And then pit road right here where we're standing. It's going to be a challenge, sharing a pit stall, and then, you know, having a poor pit stall down there towards the end. So going to have a challenging day, but I know we can do it.
Well, Susie, he is going to be sharing a pit stall with Michael Waltrip. It'll be very interesting, but Clint Bowyer has done well here with 2 top 10s.
Jamie, we'll keep an eye on that. Let's tackle the 2 guys who made the biggest move in the chase, and starting with Bowyer. Last week, Brad, you said he'd be in 12th with all those guys up top. It was insurmountable, but there he is up in 4th now.
Clint Bowyer had a great week last weekend, Susie. He dominated the race, did everything he needed to do, but I still think with those 3 guys, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, and Tony Stewart, starting shotgun on the field with bonus points, you will not catch them. I still think their lead is insurmountable because they will be the most consistent over the long haul, Rusty.
Well, they're going to be very consistent. There's no doubt about that. But also, you got to look behind you. Look at Martin Truex and guys like that. Hey, they're running really good right now. They got good, fast cars. They're qualifying well. They're doing all the right things. So I don't think that Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon are going to drive off in the sunset by any means.
All right, the guy who's in the most trouble then is Kurt Busch. He lost the most points last week, 62 points. So what do you think of his status right now?
Well, right now he's in the danger zone to me. He could definitely make it up, but he doesn't have any mulligans left, that's for sure.
Yeah, he threw his one away. He's got to get up on the wheel and get some good solid finishes from here on out without question, even win a race or 2.
He's going to start 4th, so certainly improves his luck a little bit. Who would you say, though, would be your favorite out here today?
If I had to pick someone to win here today, I'd have to say Martin Truex Jr. He absolutely loves this racetrack. He's almost home. I think Truex is the guy to beat today.
Brad, I got to agree with you on that.
We
But Martin
agree.
Truex, hey, buddy.
There you go.
That's cool, man.
Martin Truex Jr. is the Jersey boy, so it's his home track. A ton of fans out here to see him today. And Truex was the class of the field in June. His win on the high banks may have built the momentum he needed to reach the chase. He'll join us next, and as drivers make their way to introductions, Junior Nation taking in the last looks at the red Budweiser on their guy. A look back at his eventful week. And part of the pre-race festivities here at Dover, 3 members of the Aerial Adventure skydiving team out of Virginia, thrilling the crowds and lighting up the sky, representing the Dodge Dealers 400 as we get ready to rock race 28.
Countdown, brought to you by Chevy, an American Revolution.
Our X Games pals putting on a show for fans here at Dover. And most drivers will tell you that it's these guys, BMX stunt guys, that are the true daredevils. As we are counting down to 400 laps and 400 miles, and this is a track that can eat you up or make you a hero, and that includes last June.
Well, and that win in June, a great way to top off what's been a good run for Martin Truex Jr. here at what is the closest to his hometown track, being the Dover Speedway. But what about today? You've got your 6th in the chase coming in, a win here in June. How much further forward do you think you can move today in the chase?
Well, we're going to certainly think we got a good car. Our best for Chevrolet was pretty good yesterday, and you know, we'll just take what we can get. Hopefully we'll be able to get up front, lead some laps, and be around at the end of the race for the win. But if we can't do that, we'll get the best finish we can and just do what we've been doing here lately.
We know this place is tough to race. How tough is it when you come down pit road, and what do you have to be careful of?
Well, pit road's always tricky here. It's just so small. Not only is it narrow, but it's short. The boxes are real small. So just got to be careful. You got to give and take. You know, if there's a guy coming out on you, you know, as bad as you want to keep that spot, you got to let off and let him in. So just be patient, do a little give and take on pit road, and hopefully we'll be able to drive by them all on the racetrack.
It's been a busy weekend for you here with family and friends here. Has it been fun?
Been a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun running that car in the Busch race yesterday. Hopefully we can better that by one spot today.
He finished second yesterday, as he mentioned. He'll look forward to his second win here at Dover and second win in the Nextel Cup Series today. Susie?
Dave, for the season, there's a total of 16 Car of Tomorrow races. Of course, they're going to run the COT here. Next week, the drivers return to the car of today at Kansas. In 2 weeks, the Car of Tomorrow faces what is perhaps its toughest challenge, the 2.66-mile Talladega Super Speedway. It'll be the first time the COT runs with a restrictor plate. So back in June, this was considered a big race for the COT because it was the fastest it had gone. As we saw, 5 of the 10 chase races are COT races. So how would you evaluate the COT's performance so far this season?
Well, right now, Susie, I think it's pretty good. It's definitely a safer car. It's saving the teams a little bit of money, I think. But the big problem we got right now is passing. These guys are all running bumper to bumper and can't seem to get separated because the cars are built so equal. They need to put some type of adjustability in the car so these teams can give each car a little bit of individuality, I would say.
I think you're 100% right, Rusty. These cars, and they are safe, and that is the most important thing. When I went through the garage this past week, I talked to every crew chief and every driver, and to a man, they all said if they would just give us a softer race tire, if we just had a little softer race tire, we could absolutely turn these things to the corner and race them harder. If they could do that, what about the old bias fly tire?
Oh, man, amen. Awesome? I totally agree with you, Brad. You need a softer tire. If the tire wears out a little bit, these guys are going to be slipping and sliding. The passing's going to come back and create a lot better racing.
Well, it seems like you've got the leader up front that's almost untouchable, but then there's some great racing back in the pack. How do we equal all that out?
Well, the racing up front is because the guys are usually got their game plans figured out. They're on top of their game. And guys can get runs, but they just can't get by one another. And Rusty, if we could just see a little, like I say, softer tire, we think we could get some grip and get by people.
I think it's going to happen.
I hope so.
Now, drivers have complained, but NASCAR officials will tell you guys must adapt. The Vice President of Competition, Robert Pemberton, gave this analogy. It's like baseball. If you wanted it to be easy, then they would use aluminum bats. Well, so we've determined that the cars are so equal, but what's one big thing that the crew chiefs can do to make the cars better? Well, let's ask Tim Brewer at the Chevy Cutaway car in the Dish Tech Center.
The best thing I can work on today to enhance my performance to win the race, driver attitude. NASCAR has me pretty much handcuffed. They've got such strict requirements as far as templates on the COT car. I can't do a lot with aerodynamics. There again, my check sheet. Got good spring combinations, weight, ballast, shock absorbers. We've got all the mechanical stuff covered. Driver attitude, he comes in here with the attitude, I've run good here in the past, I'm going to run well today. The only thing I can do is make the car drive good for him to enhance his performance here at Dover, Delaware today.
Cutaway Car is brought to you by Chevy, the most wins in NASCAR history, an American Revolution.
Drivers making their way to introductions. Kyle Busch have his work cut out today, starting 22nd. Junior, big news upcoming. Casey Mears running for pride, and Carl Edwards, we know, loves the concrete. Nearly 140,000 looking forward to this one. And the gold mine of merchandise is open for business. Dale Earnhardt Jr. unveils his new look, new number, new sponsors.
NASCAR Countdown, brought to you by Chevy, an American Revolution.
We're looking ahead to Monday Night Football on ESPN, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This week from New Orleans as Vince Young leads the Tennessee Titans into the Superdome to face Drew Brees and the Saints. It's a Monday Night Football on ESPN. And now it's official. This week, Dale Earnhardt Jr. unveiled his new number and two primary sponsors. Jr. lands the biggest sponsorship in NASCAR's history with Mountain Dew Amp Energy Drink and the National Guard. Jr. expands his brand, and the Guard ties into his military school background. The number has a ton of history, including Jr.'s grandfather, who drove it in 1957.
It's better. I like green better than when I did red.
I'm a Dale Jr. fan, but this must be the ugliest T-shirt I've ever seen.
Doesn't make any difference which number he has, you know. It's Dale Jr.
I'll follow him wherever he goes.
Yeah, I don't care if it changes every year. I'll keep changing with him.
What about those diehard fans with the 8 tattoos?
Add another one. Take it off.
Down here live on the grid with Dale Jr. as he chats with his crew alongside the race cars. So much speculation, focus, clamor, and a lot of work that goes into putting together what you had to announce this week. Is there a sense of relief or any kind of stress relief at having that behind you now?
Well, I think, you know, I still got a job to do here with the Budweiser Chevrolet, and we're really excited about the rest of the year, and we're going to do as good a job as we can. And I'm sure there's a lot of relief on Rick Hendrick and my sister Kelly and everybody working with them. A lot of relief for them guys because they have worked really, really hard. I've just sort of got to stand at the front of the line and really not do a whole lot physically, but you know, we're still concentrating on what we have left this year, doing a good job for Budweiser and all my guys. They really worked hard this year to quit now, so we're going to keep working.
Let's talk about today's race. You start 21st. Looking at your last couple of races here, I'm going to guess that keeping the right fronts on the car is going to be important to you today.
Yeah, you know, the tire couldn't handle the top groove last time we were here. When I run up there, it'd wear the right front right out and it'd go flat. So hopefully the tire's a little bit better today. We got a little more rubber down on the track, and that'll help out. Hopefully we won't have to use the top groove. The car will turn. I got Martin set up for some of it in there, and it seems to be working better than what we normally run. He's had a good car all weekend. Hopefully we can get up there and race with him a little bit because I think he's going to be the guy to beat.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. starts 21st. Susie?
You know, and obviously he's still being so respectful for his team, and his new sponsors are also. That gear won't be available at the track out of respect to Budweiser. But I want to go beyond the numbers and the merchandise. There's now so much pressure on him because he's going to have the best of everything, and then it's really all on him. Can he win?
You know what, Susie, I'm really looking forward to next season with Dale Earnhardt Jr., giving him a fresh start as far as a fan, because I think this opportunity gives Dale Earnhardt Jr. the opportunity to maximize his potential as a great race car driver. He's a great talent, and he has a ton of potential. He's a fan favorite, but he's yet to emerge as a great race car driver. We've watched him these past couple of weeks while he's trying to charge for the chase, and he has driven the wheels off that race car. He's going to have the best of everything, and I think he will be successful as emerging as a great race car driver in this series.
Yeah, he's won 2 races in the last 99.
Yeah.
So there's plenty to. Also getting an image makeover, Casey Kane. That's official also as of this week. The new sponsor in Budweiser. Here at the track, Juan Pablo Montoya's kids getting a jump on their racing careers. The image of winning most ingrained in the minds of Team Hendrick fans. Jimmy Johnson on top, tied up there with Jeff Gordon. Who will leave Dover with the edge? We'll let these guys fight it out. And our thoughts and prayers with the 2 Delaware State University students, both 17, injured and hospitalized after an on-campus shooting Friday. Investigators are still working to find the shooter. The incident has been linked to what students have characterized as tension between rival groups. As we step away for a word from our local ABC stations, back in a moment with more from Dover as NASCAR Countdown rolls on. Arrival on ABC HD, presented by DLP HD TV. Next Saturday from Kansas, NASCAR Busch Series action begins at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC continues on Sunday with race number 3 of the Chase. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern with NASCAR Countdown. Right now, the two drivers tied at the top of the standings, teammates who have combined for 10 wins this season. Jeff Gordon and Bud Pole Award winner Jimmy Johnson, who's with Shannon Spink.
Well, Susie, for the second time in 3 weeks, Jimmy Johnson is starting from the front of the pack on the pole. All right, we know you have a fast car in qualifying trim. How do you think this car is going to react in race conditions today?
I think we're going to be pretty good. It looked like a couple of the Roush cars really had some speed yesterday in the practice sessions, but you know, I feel that we've got a good top 3, top 5 car, and we're smart here. We know how to race this racetrack and what to do over the course of the day, so we should be in good shape.
Well, you certainly do know how to race this racetrack. 3-time winner. What is the key to a good finish here?
There's so many. This is really a demanding track. There's a lot of things that can go wrong on pit road, on the racetrack. You just got to be on your toes and sharp all day long, and I think that's the most important thing.
Well, the last time Jimmy Johnson started from the pole position, it was in Richmond 2 races ago, and he led that race and finished that race first. Mike?
Well, Shannon, Jimmy's teammate, Jeff Gordon, well, he starts a few rows back, 27th on the grid. How much of a concern is that here at Dover?
Well, I mean, you know, this is a survival race. No matter where you start, it's a tough place. But we certainly haven't made it any easier on ourselves with this DuPont Chevrolet team. You know, pit road is going to be pretty exciting. We're going to have to be really smart, really patient today, and really try to survive. And hopefully, if we can do that for the first half, 3/4 of the race, you know, we can stay on the lead lap, be in a position to, you know, go after, lead some laps, and hopefully pull off another top 5 finish like we did last week.
Well, Jeff Gordon has 4 career wins here at Dover, but Susie, that was before the car of tomorrow.
All right, Mike, so are you ready for 400 miles and 400 laps on this tough track?
I'm ready. I've got my helmet on. I'm strapped in. I'm ready to get after it.
One key thing fans should be watching for today.
Well, I think you got to watch the car tomorrow. It really has a tough time turning through the corner. And as they go off into turn 1, they drop off into that corner, and it washes up. Going to see a lot of action out of 2 and 4. Get ready. I'm ready to rumble, Susie. It's
Another
going to be
tough
great.
test for the COT and 12 championship drivers, and a full field are running for points and pride as we get set to celebrate the day as we go trackside for opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise? Our colors being presented today by the Military District of Washington Armed Forces Color Guard. And I present to you for our invocation, Reverend Dan Schaefer, pastor of the Calvary Assembly of God of Hightstown, New Jersey.
Shall we pray? Almighty God, we thank you for this great country in which we live, the United States of America. And today we gather together for another NASCAR race. We pray for our soldiers. We pray for our leaders. We thank you for NASCAR and all those that make this possible. So as always, we pray today for a great race. We pray for a safe race. In Christ's name, amen. Shalom.
And now remain standing for our national anthem, today presented by Julian Irwin, recent finalist of America's Got Talent from Bel Air, Maryland.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in
Ladies and gentlemen,
A picture-perfect day for racing in Dover. Dry, breezy, warm, with the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup turning up the heat. An incredibly competitive field set for race number 2 of the chase. As we turn it over to Dr. Jerry Punch, Rusty Wallace, and Andy Petrie. Doc?
Thank you very much, Susie. Take a look at the chase point standings. 9 of the 12 positions changed after race number 1 last week at New Hampshire. Yeah, Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon teammates, they're tied atop the standings. The biggest winner last week was the Cinderella story for Clint Bowyer. Moves from 12th to 4th position, gaining 8 spots. The big loser, Kurt Busch, engine issues, forced a 25th place finish last week. Now, which of the chasers had the best average finish here? How about Denny Hamlin's been here 3 times. He's finished 11th, 9th, and 4th back in the spring. And by the way, he dominated the NASCAR Busch Series race here yesterday. Jeff Gordon is tied with the most wins among active drivers with 4 here, although he has not won here since 2001. Hello, everyone. Along with the champions, Rusty Wallace and Andy Petrie, I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us today here at the Monster Mile. Okay, driver, you're in the chase. So you're facing 400 laps on a high-banked, high-risk, high-speed concrete oval. What are your concerns?
Oh, Jerry, right now I'm nervous. I'm really nervous. But inside, I'm trying to stay calm. And the biggest thing I'm worried about is me making a mistake on the racetrack or coming down pit road, getting a pit road speeding penalty, getting the thing loose off of turn 4, something like that I caused. I'm really nervous about that.
Andy, the crew chief said this is the most stressful race, or one of the most stressful races of the year. Why?
Well, Talladega probably is the wild card of the series, but this one's close. This track is so treacherous. It's banked so much, and there's nowhere to go if you have trouble. If you get in trouble, somebody else can spin in front of you. There's nowhere to go to avoid it. And pit road is so tight that you can, almost all these cars are going to have dings in the fenders from trying to get on and off of pit road.
43 drivers, each hoping to survive the concrete here at Dover, but only one will conquer the Monster Mile here today.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Aflac. Ask about it at work. Sprint, featuring NASCAR Nextel Cup Series updates at Sprint Speed. Can-Am, I Can-Am, can you? And Dodge, live life to the fullest. Dodge, grab life.
NASCAR's finest are buckled up and ready as we go trackside for the command.
And here to give the command to set today's Dodge Dealers 400 field into motion is the chairman and CEO of Chrysler LLC, Mr. Bob Nardelli.
NASCAR fans, join me in our 2,500 Dodge dealers and our 80,000 employees for the 4 greatest words in sporting today. Gentlemen, start your engine!
You got a good race car, right?
Engines have fired. Let's take a look at our starting grid. And Jimmy Johnson picks up his second pole in the last 3 events. His second pole in 2007. He will lead it down. He is flanked by impressive rookie Juan Pablo Montoya, who will start on the front row for the 3rd time this year. Now, while you watch to see where your favorite driver is starting, let's visit with our in-race reporter, the driver of the Office Depot Ford, Carl Edwards, who will start back in 15th position today.
Hey, Carl Edwards, Rusty Wallace, ESPN. You got us?
Clear, Rusty.
Hey, Carl, man, you've been the best in all these concrete tracks this year, but what's going through your mind right now as you get ready to start this race today, especially with the car tomorrow?
The biggest thing, Rusty, is just the fact that it's 400 laps, and you know, even though practice was great in this Office Depot Fusion, the front grip has been a huge issue. So that's the biggest thing to me, is just making it through those long runs and keeping the car turning. And Bob Osborne and the guys have got a lot of work ahead of them, you know, to make sure this thing stays good in the center of the corner.
Hey, Carl, yesterday in the Busch Series race, there was a lot of accidents off of turn 4. That seemed to be the corner that was causing everything. Has that got you concerned any at all today?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, running too wide with these cars, Rusty, is harder than running too wide with the Busch cars. You know, the guys are all really good, but turn 4 does narrow up. I mean, you know how it is here. It slings you right to the wall. So, heck, man, we'll just hopefully not get caught up in any of that. We'll be good.
All right, buddy. Thanks for talking to us. We'll check you later.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Rusty. Have a good broadcast.
The man who will call the shots for Carl Edwards today, his crew chief, Bob Osborne. Let's talk with him.
Hey, Bob. Andy Petrie up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Andy. How you doing, man?
Hey, pretty good. Hey, word in the garage area is that you guys have one of the cars to beat today. How do you think you're going to stack up?
Oh, we'll see. I think we had a pretty decent car. It is a long race. We'll have to see how the track changes for us and if we can keep up with it or not.
Team 4, Bob. You guys have a nice race.
Sir, enjoy yourself.
Bob Osborne knows that his driver is really good on concrete surfaces. Of Carl Edwards' 6 combined NASCAR wins this year, 5 have come on the concrete. He finished 3rd here in the spring, ran awfully well in the Busch race yesterday. Look for Carl Edwards to be a factor early on today. Back in just a moment. Welcome back to Dover to update you on some of the stories we'll be following today. Let's hear from 4 of the best pit reporters in the business. First, here's Mike Massaro.
Thanks, Doc. You know, this is the Monster Mile, and for Tony Stewart, his statistics here are rather, well, scary, both for the competition and for him. At the beginning of his career, he rattled off 12 consecutive finishes of 11th or better, including 2 victories. But recently, the Monster Mile has not been so kind. In his last 3 races here, he's been 25th or worse, including 2 DNFs. And as he starts 28th today, the looming question is, will he be able to rekindle his magic of the past, or will recent history repeat itself? Jamie?
Well, Mike, his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate Denny Hamlin kicked off yesterday with a trip to the infield medical center. He had symptoms of the flu. He got IVs in his arms, got some fluids pumped into his system in order to race the Busch Series last night. Even though he didn't feel well, he dominated the race, bringing home the victory last night. He said he went straight to the medical center, got more fluids last night, and felt so great. He ran 3.5 miles and woke up this morning. He said, I feel great. I'm ready to go out there today, but what's even better, Dave, he said he has the car to beat today.
Jamie, we've talked all weekend about picking up spots on pit road, but how does a crew get ready to make sure they're ready to go when their guy comes down pit road? Rick Machinsky, the gas man, he's got to think not only about that 83-pound gas can, he might have a wrench in his hand to do an adjustment on the left side of the car. Craig Pope is getting the jack ready right now. He's working on upper body strength in between pit stops, making sure that one pump raises the car to the desired height so they can do the pit stop. And Jake Seminara, one of the tire changers, he might be down here on the practice hub, hitting the pattern is what they call it, just to make sure that his hand-eye coordination are ready. He'll have to take off 10 and put on 10 lug nuts every 4 tire stops. They've got to be ready on this narrow pit road. Alan?
Well, Dave, in this race 1 year ago, 5 of the then 10 drivers in the championship chase had problems. They ranged from pit road penalties to flat tires, from blown engines to crashes. This racetrack is tough. It's tough on cars, it's tough on parts, it's tough on drivers, it's tough on crews, and trouble is easy to find. Avoiding that trouble today is key to the 12 drivers chasing the championship in race 2 of 10. Doc?
Thanks, guys. We'll be covering all that's going to happen with 8 high-definition onboard cameras. Clint Bowyer in the 07 starts 42nd, the DirecTV Chevrolet. Casey Kane starts 14th in his Dodge. Denny Hamlin starts 3rd in the FedEx Chevy. Jeff Burton starts 36th in the AT&T Chevrolet. Michael Waltrip 43rd, the Napa Auto Parts Toyota. Jeff Green 34th, the Best Buy Chevrolet. Tony Raines 20th, the Texas Instruments DLP Chevy. Carl Edwards 15th. You heard from him in the Office Depot Ford. And of course, those 8 drivers carrying high-definition onboard cameras, getting set for 400 laps, 400 miles here. The Monster Mile at Dover, Delaware. Over 130,000 fans have jammed their way into the racetrack. It's halfway between Baltimore and Philadelphia here on the Delmarva Peninsula. Dover, Delaware, stop number 2 of 10 on the 2007 race for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. Field of 43 comes down to the green flag as Jimmy Johnson leads him down. Denny Hamlin dives beneath the 42 car. You heard about, he said he had a really good car today. He takes a second spot. Here comes the one car who won back in the spring, Martin Truex, taking third position away.
Boy, and Hamlin gets the 48 car Jimmy Johnson loose, and Johnson up the racetrack, Hamlin underneath. Guys, he must not be feeling too bad right now. Back in his old form like it was yesterday.
Track's real dirty from just getting started here, and a lot of dust and stuff. These guys got to just kind of take it easy and tiptoe, but these top two guys are racing hard.
Well, guys, you're right. You saw how the track was just showing up a lot of dust. That makes the cars really loose right now. And right now, they're too wide, getting in the corner. Here comes Kevin Harvick on the inside. Montoya's fading, though. Montoya's getting to the back of the pack. It's like no grip right there. Problems on that car right now.
I talked to his guys in the garage this morning, and they said that they got just a great lap in qualifying, but they didn't have as good a hose for their car in the race as they did for their qualifying lap. So they're going to be sorting this thing out all day.
Well, right now he needs to get to the bottom of the racetrack. He gets up top, he's just going to get his doors blowed off, so to speak. Because right now, early in the run, the bottom lane is the quickest.
He gets it down on the bottom right here. Looks like his car is going to sort out here. These guys are trying to figure out what they've got.
Single file up front. They are too wide, about back for about 10th or 11th position. Denny Hamlin has taken the lead. You talked about how he dominated here in the NASCAR Busch Series race yesterday, leading 138 laps of 200.
Yeah, they are side by side, slipping and sliding right now, just trying to get the heat up on those tires, trying to get the tire pressure built up. You see Tony Stewart there working the inside groove right behind Johnny Sauter in that 70 car. It's like Tony just doesn't have the car going early right yet.
Sixth position, the 17 car, Matt Kenseth, going beneath the 10 of Scott Briggs.
Kenseth, he was second in practice yesterday, so I expect good things out of Matt today. He's got a good fast car, and he's always good here at Dover.
I heard these Roush cars, all of them were good in practice yesterday. Talking to those crew chiefs down there, they said all the Roush cars as a whole were going to be good today.
Well, this particular car, the 17 car, Matt Kenseth's, guys, he can work the bottom of the track, the middle of the track, and I talked to Matt. He said, hey, Rusty, we've got a good car, but this car was one of the cars we used to get set up on our brand new 7-post pull-down machine. They've been doing a lot of work with that. Looks like it's paying off right now.
I was talking to Greg Biffle last night and talking about these Roush guys. He said the engineers are basically setting the cars up for them on these 7-post rigs. They don't really have these seat-of-the-pants changes that they used to make. They have to make these changes based on engineering.
Back in the pack, 19th and 20th position. You see the 5 car of Kyle Busch. He's a chaser trying to get up beneath the 78 of Joe Nemechek, and behind him is Jeff Gordon, the 4-time winner here. Remember, Gordon started way back in 27th position.
Well, I don't expect him to stay there very long, Jerry. He's another guy that was fast in practice. And there he goes, Matt Kenseth, around the 29 car of Kevin Harvick to take over that 5th place.
Matt Kenseth won here in the spring of 2006. He started back in 19th and did much like he's doing right now. Just sailed by cars one by one on his way to the front with more of them. Matt Kenseth.
Guys, Matt Kenseth wasn't too happy with his car yesterday, but I talked to he and Robbie Reiser. They said they're actually getting this car to turn better, which has been the problem with the COT across the board. But they really feel like it's paying off. And last night, guys, Matt Kenseth, great run, finished 3rd, and he's pretty confident in his car today.
Battle for 11th position. You see Dale Earnhardt Jr. there in the 8 car. It'll be the 88 next year, 43. Bobby Labonte, former winner here, making his 500th consecutive start.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now, here's a guy that's, look, he's out of the chase for the championship, and all he wants to do is end this year on a high note, go out and win races. That's his goal. He needs to drive hard like he did trying to get in the chase right now. Say, heck with it. Let's just get the wins. That's his #1 goal.
There's Casey Kane right in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Remember how well he ran at Bristol. He led the most laps there. This is a very similar track to Bristol, so look for this guy to be good.
Well, a lot of guys, Andy, call this racetrack the sister track of Bristol because they're both concrete. This is a lot bigger. And some of the guys actually label their cars concrete cars.
How about the fact that the sponsor on the 8 car will be jumping over to sponsor the 9 car next year?
Let's hope it doesn't swap over right there. They're getting pretty close coming off turn 4.
I'll tell you, Junior's got a good car right now. He's when you can stick to the bottom of the racetrack early in the run like this and stay there, that's what you got to do. Crash.
Heavy contact, the 70 car. You talk about how hard you could hit here at Dover. There's a prime example.
Oh, man, you heard him say he got dumped. He got hit in the back evidently, or something happened there. Hate to see that for Johnny. He's had some good runs going on. I remember that great run he had at Richmond. Man, he was so good there. It was just unreal. At the end like this, tough deal.
They've had some really good races with this car tomorrow.
Can't even drive it back there.
It's too bad for Johnny.
At his career best finish just a couple of weeks ago at Richmond, you talked about the night there under the lights on the 3/4 mile. Let's see what happens to Johnny's car, number 70. Talked about some contact from behind, and there it is.
Yeah, it looks like the 38 car, David Gillian, might have gotten the back of him. Johnny said he got contact, got hit. That was the car behind him. But, you know, that is such a tight corner. We saw all the problems yesterday in the Busch Series race coming off of turn 4. And we talked to Carl Edwards, our race reporter. He agreed. He said, that's the corner we got to watch.
And you see how this track just funnels down to that inside wall. You spin here, you got nowhere to go. You got to hit something, either the outside wall or the inside wall. We see here where Johnny hits the inside wall.
Andy, 9 degrees banking in his front straightaway in the back. So everything on this track is banked. So everything goes to the bottom.
Caution number 1 coming out on lap 12 here at Dover, Delaware. Back with more after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to the Dodge Dealers 400. We are at Dover, Delaware. Dover International Speedway under caution for the first time today. Coming out on lap number 12 when Johnny Sauter had some contact with the wall. Now, we talk about air so much and how it can impact a car. If you want to see how the 11 car got the lead, watch this.
Take a look at Denny Hamlin getting on the rear bumper of the Jimmy Johnson. Just packs that air up in his back of his car, shoots Jimmy up the racetrack. Denny gets throttled, gets in that clean air, and takes back off. Perfect explanation of how you can get aero loose. Just getting all that air packed up under the back of that fuel cell, making that 48 loose.
Is that a little strategy that you use as a driver to say, okay, I've got a little better car and I need to move him out of the way?
Oh, every time, Andy. I always want to get in there and try to loosen a guy up just by making him aero loose. It always works every time.
Under this caution, 18th on back pitted, including this car, Tony Stewart, among others that were on pit road. And there were some issues here. Watch the 20 and the 15 leaving here.
I'm trying to think really why Tony's mad at the 15 car Paul Menard right now. Menard beat him out. Pretty fair and square. And he's hitting him again right now. Bam, another time. Hey, don't you know, these guys are getting frustrated. The chase for the championship is already starting to heat up right now. Hey, Tony's not done with him right yet. Let's get in here and, oh my gosh, give him another whack right there. Oh. Now, why he would tear his own car up, I have no idea.
Alan?
You know, we talked about the tight confines down here on pit road, guys, and Paul Menard is pitted in the spot in front of Tony Stewart. Well, Paul, trying to be cautious and not run over a couple of his crew guys, didn't pull all the way up in his pit box. So Tony, who came in ahead of Paul, had to back up and go around him, and that's when you saw Menard pull out of his pit box and jump out in front of Tony. So Tony was a little upset that he had to stop and back up when he should have been ahead of, you know, how all that works, Rusty, right?
Yeah, well, Alan, the thing I'm concerned about with Tony right now, I mean, I understand the emotion and everything, but he took a swipe, you know, at the 15 car. Now I see the right front damage on the 15, and you know, they could tear both their cars up doing stuff like that this early.
Let's listen in to Tony Stewart's radio.
Idiot, the 15 car can't pull up to the front of the box. There was nobody even over there. Right after he got done telling us he was going to work with us.
Tony Stewart, a little communications there. For more information on pit road safety and communications, log on to ESPN.com. Search word safety.
That's what this pit road will do. It'll just bring out those, you know, tempers and emotions down there because there's so little room down, you know, on pit road.
No, emotions are going to go sky high. You want to get mad, you get on this pit road. That'll make you mad. I've been stuck in this thing 4 or 5 times, leading the race and come out in the top 5 because can't get out of the pits.
By the way, you A.J. Allmendinger fans, he's had an engine problem. He has taken his car to the garage area. Tough break for A.J., who had his best qualifying effort of the year here on Friday, where he was starting in 11th spot. Back to green as Denny Hamlin leads him down. Jimmy Johnson may be trying to repay the little aero loose favor he got from Denny Hamlin a few laps ago.
You took the words out of my mouth, Jerry. It's exactly what I was thinking of. Jimmy can get his nose right to the back of Hamlin. He'll get him aero loose, run him up the racetrack, and Jimmy can take the lead again.
Going to have to pick it up a little bit, though. Hamlin's got a pretty good car. Pulled out on him just a few car lengths.
And last night in practice, Hamlin's car looked awful strong. Another car right at the bottom of the track looked really good out there.
Yeah, Denny says you got to catch me first.
It's like he took off right where he left off yesterday.
Yeah, in yesterday's Busch Series race, nobody could catch Denny Hamlin. He had this track figured out.
How good is that 17 car of Matt Kenseth?
Well, that's a good-looking car right now. And one thing I do like about that, remember that black and yellow Miller January draft car I used to drive? That car right there reminds me of it. The same color, good-looking car. Miss those days, man.
I remember you were driving like that up here at Dover, just sailing by people. Now the battle behind him for another car you used to drive, the 2-car. Kurt Busch, born beneath the 1 of Martin Truex, and that is for 4th spot.
Now you're talking about Kurt Busch. He broke a throttle shaft last week in a carburetor. Relegated him back to 22nd place, and he's trying to make up for it today. Dave, you got more?
Yeah, first report for Kurt. He's not very happy, and we got trouble on the track, guys.
All crash here. Kenny Schrader, a former winner here at Dover, involved in an incident here, bringing out caution for the 2nd time.
He's got a cut left rear tire right there. Looks like maybe somebody got into the left rear, cut that tire, spun Kenny out.
Yeah, the left rear quarter panel is really caved in. You saw the bar in the back. Although that car doesn't look like they can't not get it back in the track. I think they can fix it and get it back out there.
Yeah, they can fix that car, put some tires on it, maybe pull some of that sheet metal away.
And that's another thing about these car tomorrows. They're so tough, it's incredible. We saw some of the things. Let's take a look at this replay, guys.
Really hard to tell right there whether he had any help.
41 car was behind him. We're not saying it was contact, but let's look again. Let's see right there, the 41 of Sorensen was behind him. Good job by Tony Stewart, Paul Menard to miss the 21.
Doesn't take much to get one turned around sideways here. Even just a little contact. Yeah, you see the contact right there from Reed Sawyer.
Easy. Coming back up. Add away.
And guys, that's
a rear a little bit, guys, but
Guys, that's a problem coming off of turn 4. You see Reed Sorensen looks like he might have lost the front end of his car, got up and got Kenny Schrader in the left rear quarter panel and started this whole melee. But that turn 4 is Calamity Corner down there right now, and we're going to have to keep our eye on that thing all day long.
Looks like Jeff Burton's got just a little bit of damage on his rear bumper. Shouldn't cause him any trouble as long as it doesn't come loose and maybe get black flag.
Paint scheme on this 21 car. This is the 60th anniversary of the United States Air Force. They had a big celebration at Dover Air Force Base earlier in the week, and Kenny Schrader and all the crew were there. Not the way they wanted to begin the race today at Dover, Delaware. Caution number 2, back with the green in just a moment. Back at Dover, Delaware, getting set for the restart. By the way, you Johnny Sauter fans, Johnny has been treated and released from the infield care center. He's okay. The car pretty heavily damaged. And Denny Hamlin leads him down, but watch out for that 17 car of Kenseth, who is in a hurry to get there.
They're all trying to take advantage of these restarts on these cooler tires and get it done when they can get it done. You saw Kenseth peek his nose out there a little bit, but hey, look at the 8 car, Earnhardt Jr. This guy has come from 21st all the way up to 10th, and now he's working over Juan Montoya.
Earnhardt Jr., a former winner here, won this race back in 2001. Not in the chase, so really no pressure. Just said, I wanted to be able to take this team and go out and have some wins for the entire organization for DEI and some of the guys that are going to be here in 2008.
Matt Kenseth is in the 2nd place right now, just getting past Jimmy Johnson there. He's getting some clean air right now. Denny Hamlin's ahead of him pretty far, so let's see what the lap time is going to be now. See if Kenseth can run him down. And Kurt Busch, take a look at Kurt Busch. He's got a good car today too, guys. Working the bottom of the track there. Good looking car.
He's coming up through there, and these two cars here, if they can get clear and clear traffic, they might be able to run down that 11. We'll see what he's got.
Remember, Kurt Busch had the engine issues a week ago at New Hampshire, finished 25th, moved him all the way down to the bottom rung, 12th in the chase, trying to make up for it here with a good run at Dover.
I was talking to Pat Tryson. He said they kept trying some different things to try to fix that car last week. They couldn't quite figure it out. The carburetor was the next thing on their list, but they just ran out of time. Didn't get another caution to fix it. Looks like they've got it running really good today, though.
Dave?
And Doc, talking to Pat Tryson, the crew chief this morning, he said, we got a top 10 car for sure. We found some little things in final practice that might have helped us, but I thought the most interesting thing on their weekend was this is one of those cars that is running a very different track before it got here. Granted, Watkins Glen, now they reclipped it, rebodied it, so it's really a different car, but, you know, just for the press line, it was pretty interesting. Watkins Glen car makes good at Dover.
It seems like they've done that a lot. I've heard of guys that took their Watkins Glen cars to Talladega to test it, and now they're bringing them here to run. So it's kind of funny that this car really has turned out to be very versatile, just like NASCAR planned for.
Like running a mule in the Kentucky Derby. I mean, you wouldn't have thought of that years ago, but now with the COT, they're all pretty much the same.
Well, they're really close to the same. In fact, they're close to the same now that the top 15 cars, I'm looking at our monitors, are running within a tenth of a second of each other. Very close again. And that's the reason on these restarts you see these guys going for it, man. They want to get the positions because it's hard to get them now.
Here's somebody going for it right here. This is 15th spot. These guys are fighting for it. Robbie Gordon gets a good run off the corner. This by Bobby Labonte in the 43. Brings Jeff Gordon with him.
Jeff Gordon again started back in 27th position. Kyle Busch started 22nd. These cars are 15th and 16th. More on Jeff Gordon. Mike?
Well, Doc, as we've seen throughout the course of 2007, Hendrick Motorsports has been the class of the field, really, when it comes to the car tomorrow. And Jeff Gordon is no exception. He's got 2 victories. But back in June, he said that was the one race where he felt like they really struggled with this race car. I talked with Steve Letarte this morning about that very subject, and he said the reason is the banking here at Dover and at Bristol. He said it creates so much vertical load that's really thrown them a curveball with this race car and might be their only weakness with the COT.
Well, take a look at the 2-car Kurt Busch. We might be saying that Hendrick Motorsports has got him covered, but Kurt Busch is saying, hey, don't forget about me. I'm looking pretty good, too. This number 2 Miller Lite Dodge, hey, he's got this thing rolling, man. Look at right on the bottom of the track. That's where you got to be.
This is the 13th race for the car of tomorrow. Chevy has won 10 of the 12, and Hendrick was won 6 of those 10, so they've been awfully good.
You know, it seems to me, guys, the only way you're going to pass around this racetrack with the car tomorrow is just change lanes. If the one guy's running the bottom, you better start working the top of that racetrack and find a way around him, because it's, other than that, you just can't get it done.
If somebody's sitting in your groove, you just got to make another one. I mean, you just can't sit there and follow him forever.
And we talked about aero. I mean, if you get up to his rear bumper and make it aerodynamically loose, that's one way to give him a wiggle out of the way.
Here comes Matt Kenseth now running down Denny Hamlin. Like I said, once he got us a little bit of clean air, he's able to run down the leader.
Denny Hamlin, as you saw at the top of our show, has the best average finish of all the 12 chase drivers here at Dover. He's only run here 3 times in the past, finishing 4th in the spring. And Hamlin has been good here, but Matt Kenseth has been awfully good here and is a former winner. More on Denny Hamlin with Dave.
And someone who has noticed that about Matt Kenseth right now, Doc, is the crew chief of the 11 car, Mike Ford. In fact, he radioed to his driver that 17 is going to be competition. Now, Denny's car just a little bit free on exit, still very fast, but he knows that Matt is coming.
Well, there's one thing for sure. The 17's definitely faster right now.
Denny Hamlin, who dominated the NASCAR Busch Series race here yesterday afternoon, leading 5 times for 138 laps. He has led the bulk of the laps here. He has led 1 time for 35 laps. You're watching ESPN on ABC. We welcome you back to the Monster Mile here in Dover, Delaware. New leader is Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. Kenseth, who started back in the 10th position. Here's what happened just a moment ago as Kenseth became the 3rd leader of the day.
Yeah, Matt just sails this thing in the corner right at the bottom. And Denny didn't challenge him at all. He said, hey, you've been catching me? Go ahead, man. So he just opened that bottom up. Matt took off, and I tell you, that's a smart race out of Denny Hamlin. He knows that Matt's got a faster car.
Okay, at this point in the race, how hard are you going to push it for this spot?
Well, right now, I don't want to. If I'm Denny Hamlin, I know I got a good car. I don't want to try to rough the guy up and maybe get him on my bumper end and get me loose getting at the corner. And so that was very smart for Hamlin. He's led some laps now, got some bonus points. Let's kind of slow down.
And the crew chief gets on the radio and reminds you you've got 356 laps left.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I'm sitting here looking, how hard are you going to push this guy right here? And how about Carl Edwards? Here's another Roush car that's on the move.
Yeah, he got a good run. Got past Jimmy Johnson. 29 car Harvick got past Jimmy Johnson. And Jimmy's back there holding on for dear life right now. His car's not handling too good. Mike, what you got going on down there?
Well, Rusty, I spoke with Carl Edwards before the race, and he said, if he could take one track and run that same track for all 10 races in the chase, it would be this one. He loves Dover. He loves being able to attack this racetrack, and he feels pretty good about his chances here this weekend. In first practice, he felt like he was the class of the field. Second practice, felt like people came and got a little bit closer, but still he feels like he's in contention this afternoon. Car's just a little bit tight. They're telling him to be patient, but of course his spot is also telling him he's as fast as everybody else on the racetrack.
Well, Mike, you can totally understand all the confidence. This guy's won everything on every concrete track he's run this year, it seems like. So he's got to be one of the favorites for this race.
Edwards finished 3rd here, or finished 5th here, I should say, in the spring race. Correct that, I was right the first time. He finished 3rd here in the spring race after starting 5th. He has been awfully good on the concrete. How about Dale Earnhardt Jr.? Here's the 8 car, and he is now being shown all the way up in 7th position, and he has a take-no-prisoners attitude on how he's getting. Reminds me a little bit of his dad here, getting aggressive on the concrete. Watch what happened a moment ago with he and Scott Riggs.
He's working over Scott Riggs pretty good. Whoa, I said, okay, I'll take that spot.
You know, it almost looked like Scott Riggs was pulling down to let him have the outside. He gave him a little rap in the back of that car, and he went right around outside of him.
The old man would have said he was just rattling his cage a little bit.
That's right, man. Rattle his cat a little bit. Let's go.
Isn't that what he said about Terry Labonte at Bristol that year when he spun him there on the last lap or next to last lap?
Yeah, he rattled his cage good.
The 24 car of Jeff Gordon, a 4-time winner. He's tied with Mark Martin for the most wins here among active drivers. Started way back in the 27th position, and guess where he is right now, folks? All the way up to 8th spot, and he is on the move.
That was a great strategy move that Steve Letarte and this crew made. They pitted under that caution flag after they'd run a few laps, got some fresh tires, maybe adjusted the car a little bit, and he's made some ground now. He started 21st on that restart.
You talk about making some ground, Andy. I mean, right now he's 8th, and I just looked at his last lap time. He ran a 25.62, and the leader just now ran a 25.71. So, but before that, the leader ran the same speed as Jeff did. So Jeff's got the speed. He just needs a track position now. Mike, what's going on?
Well, you know, Andy made a great point about the pit strategy of the 24. I sat down with Steve Letarte this morning, and he told me specifically because they're starting so deep in the field, they started 27th, he was extremely concerned. And to protect himself from getting in a dicey situation, the strategy was to get themselves off a pit sequence as quickly as possible. That's why at their very first opportunity, they came down pit road. The plan is to give themselves some track position and try to keep out of the thick of things where things can get a little bit dicey, and it seems to be working right now.
What it did is it put him on, Mike, it put him on offense now with these good tires, so he can just go out there and pass these guys. He's passed so many of them now that he can go right back and do now what the leaders are doing.
And what they have done is certainly working. Check out our sprint speed lap here. You see that Jeff Gordon is sprinting toward the front. He is faster than the leader. So much for how important qualifying was here at Dover, Delaware.
Oh, yeah, he's about a mile per hour faster that particular lap we checked him on. But and now this is big news right here. Jeff Burton getting lapped already. Says he just can't drive, but we're only 53 laps into this race. He's already a lap down.
Caution being waved now. We are told debris. There has been some contact on the racetrack. You see part of the rear of the 31 car has already been bent in, but there's cars pushing and shoving. And that is a huge break for the 31 car of Jeff Burton, because even though he was just passed, he would be the lucky dog. And how lucky is that?
Oh, that's lucky right there, because they need to work on this car too. They need to get this lap back, get in the pits, and start screwing some of those screws.
Yeah, we got to do something. I mean, it's just freaking out of control.
He's, being out of control is one thing, but right now he needs to define to his crew what's wrong with that car, what's his biggest problem, so they can work on that area.
It's hard to fix out of control unless you tell us exactly why it's out of control.
Oh, that's where emotions kick in. That's where you get real emotional. It's out of control. I can't drive it. It's crazy. It's terrible.
That's like someone telling a doctor it hurts, and the doctor says, but tell me where.
Yeah, tell me where. Touch me, feel me. What do I need to do? I got to help you. We just got a big break. We're getting our lap back. We're back in a ball game. Don't give up. That's what that crew chief's got to be telling.
And if you're a Jeff Burton fan, mark it down here. Lap 54, caution number 3. He gets lapped. He gets back on the lead lap. And, folks, it was at this race a year ago that Burton won it and broke that 175-race winless streak and allowed him to lead for the first 5 races in the chase for the championship. So don't count him out.
And this is where you need to go talk to Kevin Harvick right now. He's running 4th. Guys, what do you got for air pressures? What's your problem? Help us. We're in trouble right now. And I'd be going right down to Kevin Harvick right now, talking to him and trying to get some help.
Here come the leaders down pit road.
Leaders peel off. They will head down. Matt Kenseth, Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, and Kevin Harvick, the front 4 at 35 miles an hour. Let's go down to Mike.
And, Doc, before the race, Carl Edwards said one of his biggest concerns today, getting onto pit road, how tight it is and how tight the transitions are. A little bit tight, they'll make a track bar and air pressure adjustment. Alan?
Middle frame on the left, Kyle Busch, 22nd to 9th in these opening runs of the race. Needs a little help with the front end grip on his car, 4 tires and adjustments. Jamie?
Matt Kenseth making his way down, had to be reminded where exactly his pit box was. They're so small. He's a little tight in 2, but he said 3 and 4. He's perfect, guys. He's gained 9 positions amid leading this thing. Let's go to Dave.
Denny Hamlin says my car's a little tight, rolling into the throttle. I'm going to take the edge off of it, said crew chief Mike Ford. As he leaves pit road, he's got an air pressure and chassis adjustment to help him.
off of pit road. They were pumping the fist in the 11 pit for Denny Hamlin, and there you see why. They gained a spot as Hamlin will exit pit road as the leader. It is Hamlin, Kenseth, Harvick, and Kurt Busch as they come off of pit road. Crew camera, front tire carrier J.D. Holcomb out of Whitesburg, Kentucky on the Kyle Busch car. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to Dover, Delaware. Coverage of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series race. It is stop number 2 of 10 on the night of the 2007 Nextel Cup chase for the NASCAR Championship. Under caution for the third time a day, debris on the racetrack on lap 53. A big break for the 31 car as he's able to get that lap back, and we come down for the green flag, and Denny Hamlin once again to lead him down, but here comes Matt Kenseth.
And you see these drivers getting everything they can on these fresh tires. Like we talked earlier, it's all Matt Kenseth sailing down in there. These 4-sticker tires give you a lot of grip here at Dover.
Two guys are duking it out again. A little jump there on Harvick.
Hamlin has led twice for 42 laps. Kenseth had made the pass and led for 13 laps prior to that pit stop, and Hamlin got the lead again with great pit work and also by having one of the pit stalls on the far end of pit road.
When you got these two guys, you got two great race cars right here, and these guys are running for this championship. How hard are these guys going to run to try to lead the most laps? Are those points going to be that important to them if they're going to try to take some chances to get out front?
It's going to be very important, Andy. That's the reason you see Kenseth really go for it. Try to get that car in front of Hamlin, because he knows if he gets out front, he can just go lead laps, and get all those bonus points, and that's what's on his mind right now.
Brad?
Yeah, Doc, I spoke with Robbie Reiser during qualifying and talked about their last quarter of the season with the 17 car, and he said they've just been really disappointed in all of their performances. They've not run as well as they think they should have, and they're going to run as hard as they possibly could today. He said you're going to see a different Matt Kenseth. Matt usually lays back in the weeds, and then he comes on at the end of the day, but he said Matt's going to drive the wheels off his race car, and that's what he's done. Jamie?
Well, Brad, I talked to Robbie Reiser just before the start of the race, and he said, you know, Jamie, this has been the hardest year of my life as a crew chief. And, you know, he and Matt have worked together since Matt came into Cup in '99. They even worked together before that. But he said this has just been a tough year. Roush Fenway Racing has just been behind on their COT program. But things are starting to come around with the help of their 3 other teams who aren't in the chase. They've actually been doing some testing, helping the 99 and Matt Kenseth in the 17 out.
Matt Kenseth has not had a top 5 finish since Michigan. And you heard Brad Daugherty talking about the frustration that Robbie Reiser and the team, they are a better race team than that. And obviously Matt Kenseth has got something to prove here today. The 99 car, Carl Edwards, Concrete Carl we called him, he was on the move early on. Of course, the caution came out. And Carl, like the others, came down pit road, and there might have been some issues in the pits. Let's show you what happened as Carl was trying to exit pit road during that previous caution play.
Okay, we had a good stop here. We're coming out. Go, go, go is what the crew chief's saying. And here it funnels down. You got John Andretti coming in there in the 49. He just had to check up.
Man, you talk about running on time.
Come on now. Come on, baby.
And to make matters work, he had to stop twice and let John Andretti run the front of him. I mean, that was double trouble, that one.
It's really important here that you play flawless here these final 10 races. In fact, we asked Carl Edwards about how important it was not to make a mistake in this chase.
The key in the chase is to not have those things happen. You can't have a wreck in the race. You can't have an engine blow. Because I believe this chase, the depth of the field is such that it's going to be defined. The champion is going to be defined by, the guy who has the least bad luck.
And what happened on pit road was something that Carl Edwards feared coming into this race. We mentioned that one of his concerns was how congested pit road was, and obviously he had a little problem with Jeff Gordon in that last incident. Let's listen in.
I mean, 24 just stuck it out there. We're too wide going by. They can just wait until we go by, and then they lose one spot instead of us losing freaking 4. Hey, I'm going to do a little preaching. I'm going to pray for that, but don't expect any results from that man, babe. It goes around, comes around. We'll just do our jobs, and hopefully he'll get what he deserves.
And as you can hear, the emotions have escalated behind the wheel of the 99, but Bob Osborne trying to be the calming influence, telling Carl to just be patient.
I was just talking to Bobby Hudson, the spotter up on top of the roof for Carl Edwards. That's the biggest advantage Carl has. He's got a very experienced spotter up on top of that roof, and they're telling him what, these moves right here, they're keeping him out of trouble on pit road, on the racetrack. All these guys are acting like champions out there.
There is no margin for error here, and the spotter can be a huge help. He can get you calmed down, or he can get you fired up, as we saw yesterday in the Busch race when the spotter says so-and-so did something. The driver gets really upset in the car.
Let's take a look at the 31 of Jeff Burton right now. He's kind of locked up behind David Gillian. His car looks like it's a little bit better, but his lap times are still way off. They got a lot of work to do in that car yet, just not waking up yet.
This is a shocker to me to see this 31 car not be at one of the top 5 cars, much less back here in like 35th spot.
Jeff Burton finished 18th a week ago, 1 lap down. We thought he would be better at New Hampshire, where he had won 4 times previously, and is still struggling here today. Alan?
Well, Jeff Burton said before he came to pit road, we need big adjustments, not just a little bit. We really need big adjustments. So his crew chief Scott Miller is going to work on the car. Jeff's principal complaint on the machine, rear grip. The back end of the car wants to spin out on him in several different spots on the racetrack. There have been some improvements on the car. He has passed people since the pit stop. He restarted 40th. He's at least up to 34th now.
So don't count Jeff Burton out. They're going to work on this car and try to get him there as long as he can stay on the lead lap and stay into contention. And speaking of getting into contention, how about getting into the lead once again? Here comes a 17, but Denny Hamlin says, nope, not on that corner. I'm going to roll right back by you here on lap 71.
This is definitely a different Matt Kenseth than we normally see. Just like Robbie Reiser said, he is going after it here early. He's being very aggressive and attacking this racetrack.
Well, he's running down the 11 car. Denny Hamlin's roughing him up pretty good there. Hasn't touched it yet, but he's definitely faster. Once he gets around, I expect that he's just going to set sail and start leading those laps and get those bonus points, because he's thinking championship right now, and that's what he's got to do.
Matt Kenseth, normally very poised, very composed, very sedate, sort of laid back and sort of takes his time. I wonder if someone just popped him in the face here before he got in the car. Matt is about as easy going as they come in the garage area, but he is fired up here in the early laps of this one. Jamie?
I think Matt Kenseth, guys, is out for redemption. If you remember back just a few months ago here in June, he dominated the race. He led the most laps. And then on lap 394, he ran out of fuel. Well, he's back. He's in the same car, guys. It's been rebuilt. He's here to go to victory lane. Let's go to Dave.
Jamie, earlier upstairs as this battle continues, they were talking about how important it was to lead the most laps. Spotter Curtis Markham is encouraging the driver of the 11, Denny Hamlin, to take it easy. Denny radioed back, gotta lead laps. This driver knows as he lets Kenseth now get underneath him again, but here he comes back. He knows if he leads the most laps today, he gets 5 extra bonus points, and in this tight chase, that's important.
Crash here is Kyle Petty, guys, a former winner here in the 45 car. Kyle, who won the very first race on the concrete surface here back in 1995. He spins it around, and that will bring out
Take
yellow.
care of the motor. You're all right. You're okay.
Yellow for the 4th time today here on lap number 75.
Kyle pretty lucky not to tear the car up. That's hard to do, spin a car over there in turn 2 and not get damage from it.
Watch again the 21 of Schrader, middle of the track, and just that little touch there for Schrader and Kyle Petty.
And that was just absolutely a racing accident right there. Those two are some best of friends. So that one there was absolutely
that was not intended. That one might have strained the friendship just a little bit.
That could have.
Kenny definitely got into the back of Kyle Petty.
Kyle making his 51st career start here at Dover. One of his best racetracks. There's the contact, as you see.
Keep coming. All clear. Caution's out.
You can see what Jeff Burton saw as he sailed by on the bottom of the track.
Okay, man, a question right now is, I believe that Kyle Petty's a lucky dog now. I think he might be able to go right back around and get back on the lead lap. 21 just got the lucky dog. We've been informed it looked like Schrader came out behind Kyle came out behind the leaders and maybe get right past there.
21 car, Kenny Schrader. By the way, next week at Kansas City, Bill Elliott will be back in the 21 car, and John Wood, the youngster, the young 3rd generation Wood member of the Wood brothers family, will be in the 47 car, which of course will be the 2nd Cup car that they will run at Kansas City. Next year, by the way, it'll be John Wood and Bill Elliott and Marcus Ambrose, who will be the NASCAR Busch Series rookie, who will be driving that car sort of in a shared estate throughout 2008.
I want to let Kenny Schrader off the hook just a little bit. as he came down pit road, I saw he had a flat left front tire. That's probably what happened. Probably had that tire go down and got into Kyle Petty.
Pit stops. Here come the leaders down pit road, Mike.
And Carl Edwards rolls in 7th. A lot of debate on the radio whether to go with 4 tires or 2, and they've elected to go with 2 just right side tires for the 99 car. That was the call as they now roll off pit road and they pick up some track position. Alan?
Kyle Busch continuing his march to the front, started 22nd, running 4th at the caution, 4 tires. They will give up some track position here to people getting 2 tires. Jamie?
Matt Kenseth came over the radio, said, I'm just cruising around, guys, just kind of waiting for him. He came in, they're going to make a track bar adjustment and air pressure on Matt Kenseth. 4 tires, he's down and away. Dave?
11 car of Denny Hamlin, track bar adjustment, 4 tire change.
Race off of pit road. Kurt Busch gains a couple of Biffle up 3. How about Casey Mears, who had a great car in the final practice yesterday? He is 3rd spot by virtue of gaining 8th. This big loser on pit road, Denny Hamlin, lost 5 positions. Back with a green in just a moment. Back in Dover, Delaware, still under caution. The ambulance is pulled down pit road. One of the crew members for the Napa team, for Michael Waltrip, has been struck by a tire during the pit stop, and he's being attended to there on pit road. Let's show you what happened. You don't think pit roads can be dangerous in a busy pit stop at a NASCAR race? It certainly can. Now watch what happens here. The tire rolls out from the 44 car. There's the tire right there rolling across pit road. Sorensen misses it, but watch Bobby Labonte and then the 6 car behind him, David Reagan, pull out.
The tire gets hit, it gets knocked up, it's tumbling, it's jumping, it goes right into the 55 car pit, hits one of the crew members, knocks him down, and they're all jumping around trying to scatter to miss that tire.
Now, fortunately, that's why NASCAR mandates these guys wear helmets, and it was the gas man there who had the helmet on, and it caught him at the back of the helmet. Thankfully, NASCAR mandates these kind of safety features, and he is going to be loaded up and taken on. We'll get you an update on his situation as soon as we possibly can. Things can happen in a hurry, not only on the racetrack but on pit road, but thank goodness that we have all the safety things. You see even the officials now wear helmets if you go across the wall on pit road. Under caution for the 4th time, coming out on lap 75 due to the spin for Kyle Petty. Kurt Busch, our leader, back in just a moment.
This is the SportsCenter Minute, powered by Vizio. I'm Stan Barrett. The Boston Red Sox became the first Major League Baseball team to clinch a playoff spot last night. Boston beat the Devil Rays 8-6. That guaranteed the Red Sox at least the AL wildcard spot, and they still lead the Yankees by 2.5 games in the AL East. USC remains the #1 team in college football. The Trojans beat Washington State 47-14 for their 35th straight win at home last night. John David Booty threw for 279 yards and 4 touchdowns for the Trojans in their Pac-10 opener. I'm Stan Barrett, and that's the SportsCenter Minute.
Thank you very much. Big weekend for sports here and a big weekend for NASCAR at Dover, Delaware. NASCAR Busch Series yesterday. Denny Hamlin dominating and winning his 3rd race of the year. And we are in race number 2 of the 2007 NASCAR Nextel Cup Chase to the Championship. And Kurt Busch is being shown as our leader. The 11 car of Denny Hamlin has led the most laps. He's led twice for 61 laps. Dave?
Doc, just before that spin, he came on the radio in race saying that he wanted to lead to get the points. Here's what he said under caution, conversation with crew chief Mike Ford.
I need to lead lap. We're going to win this deal. Only you can answer that, but the big picture is you need to be there at the end of the day. 10-4, I'm not doing anything crazy.
Just driving hard right now, not doing anything that he feels is too over the top to try to hold people up. Right now he's got a pass to get back to the lead, but Denny Hamlin driving very hard today, knowing that leading the most laps as well as the last one gets you maximum points.
Well, I think that maybe Mike Ford's concerned that Denny's kind of holding up Matt Kenseth, because Kenseth is very aggressive. He wanted to lead some laps. But they're going to have to do it later right now because Kurt Busch is the leader now. In fact, Kurt Busch has moved up to the 7th and point standings right now. If the race was going to end right now, so these points are moving all around too, guys.
They got a little more to worry about right now. They've got some cars in front of them that are on 2 tires and haven't proven to be as fast as these guys, so they're going to have to slice through some traffic.
In the chase tracker for Denny Hamlin, points behind the leader. You see where he is. Remember that Jimmy Johnson a year ago didn't take the lead until the 8th race of the year, and he went on to win the championship. Kurt Busch had a disappointing 25th place finish last week at New Hampshire, trying to set sail and make amends here at Dover today.
You can see right now, Kent just took off and got ahead of Hamlin, working the top of the track. And, man, they are sliding all over the place out there.
I can't believe just how hard that Matt Kenseth and Denny Hamlin are driving these cars.
Oh, guys, look at this. I mean, they're running every lap like it's a qualifying lap right now. These two right here are just flat going after it. They know they got the quickest cars in the field, and they're trying to knife their way back up to the front.
They are in 5th and 6th right now. The 99 car right in front of him there. That's the 4th place car. The 25, Casey Mears. Great pit work for Mears' bunch. And in front of them is the 16. You see the 16 there. That's Greg Biffle, who took only 2 tires on that pit stop. That's why he was able to come out and gain those positions.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's for 9th spot around Kevin Harvick.
Jimmy Johnson's been kind of marred back behind Kevin Harvick. Not really to make much ground right there. And the 1 car, Martin Truex, that's a car that a lot of people have picked to win this race today. If he can get that thing handling well, get some track position.
There's Kenseth going for 4th spot.
And that's those 4 tires, guys. Got a lot of grip right there. See Denny Hamlin getting underneath Casey Mears on this one. And talking about Casey Mears, his #1 goal, he said, is to finish 13th in the points. If he can't get himself in a chase for the championship, he wants to be the best in class.
Casey Mears was the highest finishing non-chaser at New Hampshire. The top 7 finishes were all in the chase. Mears finished 8th. He was 5th overall, talking about the 25 car now. Mears in yesterday's final practice for the Cup cars. Very good. This team really coming into form here in the final 10 races.
He's looking like the best of the rest, I'll call it, because these chase guys have really laid it down on these guys. But Casey Mears has got a great team with Hendrick Motorsports and some teammates that are really showing him how to get it done. So he might be able to get a race win before the year's out.
Looks like Jimmy Johnson just keeps working the top side of the track. Can't get his car to go to the bottom. And if you can't get your car to handle on the bottom, you got to go where it's the fastest. And it looks like the top's for him right now.
Left side of your screen, Kyle Busch moving in on his teammate, Mears. That is the battle for 5th position. Denny Hamlin currently being shown in 5th spot. Right side is the 29 car of Harvick in 11th, and Truex Jr. back in 12th.
Right now, I'm looking at our lap tracker. Carl Edwards has got the fastest car in the field right now. He's really running down the leader, Kurt Busch. Really starting to catch him big time right now. And it looks as though that Matt Kenseth also is running down Carl Edwards. So take a look at the Miller Lite Dodge of Kurt Busch up there in those 2 tires. And right now, looks like Carl Edwards' gun sights.
Looks like these 2 tires are working really good for Carl Edwards. This is one thing he needed to get himself up in the running. The only problem with taking 2 tires under caution is it's kind of risky pulling out on pit road in front of all the cars that are coming in and out, just trying to get that track position because you can't know where to go around them.
Well, one thing right now is you need to do it now to find out how good it's going to be. If it's really bad, you don't mess with it the rest of the day. If it's working a little bit, use it when you need to use it.
Battle back again, the 29 and the 1 car. Remember Truex, who won here back in the spring. Now you talk about how these cars really take a beating on this high bank concrete at Dover. You know, they go in, the shocks, the tires, everything, the suspension, this goes up and down with this car of tomorrow. The 96 car here, Tony Raines, the DLP HD TV car, has a special onboard camera that can show you a little bit about what happens with the back suspension as they go into the cut. Here's a look at the left rear suspension. Wow, look, watch this shock absorber in the spring.
Now this is the left rear shock, left rear spring. We're looking at it from above. You can see the rear end housing and all that. You see, this is the shock. Actually, right here is the shock. And you've got the spring right here. See how that car really takes a beating over this. Concrete surface has a lot of chattery bumps. And you see how the car's going over them right there. That's why the shock absorber package is so important.
Oh, I'd say if you got to put importance on one thing, shock absorbers, the technology in shocks right now are very, very important. Could be one of the most single important things in a race car.
For more information on shocks and springs, log on to ESPN.com. Search word know-how. for more on shocks, and we'll show you exactly how all this comes together. Let's go down to our ESPN Dish Tech Center and Tim Brewer.
Hey, we're going to give you a first-hand look here, folks, at the left rear suspension components that everybody's looking at. We've got the wedge bolt spring here. That's where they insert the spring rubbers. But over here in this area, this is where the track bar location is. You have to physically loosen this up and raise and lower it in this slot area right here. Even though you see the guys with the track bar adjusting bracket, they can raise and lower it the other side. But over here, you have to manually do it yourself. The shock absorber here, great package. It's worked really well for us forever in the Cup Series. Jerry?
Great explanation, Tim and Andy. It all has to work, or every corner you're going to be in trouble.
There's so many adjustments on the cars, and even though NASCAR's taken away a whole lot of the adjustment on the body, there's still all of these chassis adjustments are very important to these guys, and even more important now that they can't work on the bodies. Here's a change for the lead. Matt Kenseth going around Kurt Busch.
Kenseth trying to take the lead now for the second time today, and indeed he has done it. He has now led a total of 14 laps. Here at Dover, Delaware, Kurt Busch led for 20 consecutive laps when he took the lead. Matt Kenseth, the 2003 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champion. That was the last year before we began the chase for the Nextel Cup. He'd like to win it again here in 2007. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
At Dover International Speedway, race number 2 of the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. The FedEx Race Rundown has the story. Defending chase champ Jimmy Johnson on the pole, but that didn't last long as Denny Hamlin took over the lead on lap 2. The pressure of the chase, you can see it. Tony Stewart bumping Paul Menard, and pit road here can bring out the worst in anyone.
It really does, Sue. It's such a narrow pit road, and like you say, with all the pressure and all the angst, guys are going to get a little impatient. As the day wears on, it's going to get even worse.
Really, the battle of the day so far has been with two guys who really run well here, Matt Kenseth and Denny Hamlin.
Man, Matt Kenseth, he's got that race car on kill right now. He is coming. Kurt Busch, who's great at Bristol, this is just a bigger Bristol. Expect him to be a factor throughout the day.
Yeah, Kenseth says Dover, one of his favorites. First Cup race was here, won a couple in the Busch Series here, so if he's looking for a little redemption, this is the track.
Absolutely.
6 lead changes, 4 cautions, Doc.
Thank you very much, Susie and Brad. Great racing here. Matt Kenseth trying to get his second win here. You talked about how Kurt Busch wants to some redemption from the disappointment of a week ago. Kurt's best finish, a 4th here in this race last fall. By the way, let's update that crew member that we saw hit by that tire that was somersaulting in the air during that pit stop. That was the gas man for Michael Waltrip's car number 55. That was Art Harris. And the good news is that Art is awake and alert. Remember, he was wearing that NASCAR mandated helmet. He is going to be transported for further evaluation, but he is awake and alert. And Aaron Perrette, by the way, the gas man for A.J. Allmendinger's car, who was in the garage area, he's going to be called into action to replace Art Harris as the gas man on the 55.
See the 44 car, Dale Jarrett slowing down. Looked like a little smoke on the right side of that car. Can't tell right now if he's got a flat tire, an engine problem or what, but something's going to miss in that 44.
Going awfully slow getting on the pit road, like there is something maybe wrong with the engine or something really gone amiss there somewhere.
You still got water pressure and oil pressure and all that, right?
Yeah, just started missing there and just really losing power, and I absolutely have no power steering whatsoever.
That's always a sign of maybe losing all the belts off the front of the engine when you don't have power steering.
We saw that same thing happen to Dale Earnhardt Jr. during the Brickyard 400 where a pulley broke in the front. Lost all the belts. Eventually the motor blew up. Everything went out the window when that happened.
2 car is second place. That's you see him right behind the 49. And Clint Bowyer, talking about the Cinderella story of a week ago when he dominated at New Hampshire and had the terrible trouble in qualifying. Started 42nd. He is on the march.
Oh, right now we're only 111 laps into a 400-lap race, and he's already from dead last all the way up to 13th now. And his lap times are very, very good. So he's on the march. He was fast in practice yesterday, too. 5th quick.
Behind him, the 0-1 car of Mark Martin, who started back in 31st position. Remember, Mark is a 4-time winner here at Dover. He and Jeff Gordon are the winningest active drivers at this track. And remember, Mark will drive the 8 car for DEI in 2008. He'll share that ride with the U.S. Army sponsorship with the rookie Eric Almirola. Now, more on Clint Bowyer. Let's check in with Mike.
Well, you know, Doc, you called him the Cinderella man. Well, I spoke with his crew chief, Gil Martin, this morning about that win in New Hampshire a week ago, and he said it was very satisfying for a number of reasons. One, for a lot of these guys who originally were on the number 30 team, this was their first win in the Nextel Cup Series. But first and foremost, it legitimized their championship chances. Clint said it opened up a lot of eyes, and as for Gil, he said a lot of people really looked at them simply as the team that took Junior's spot in the chase. And because of that, there weren't very many expectations, and they're racing right now with very little pressure. Dave?
Mike wanted to keep you posted on another chase driver right in front of him, Kevin Harvick in the 29 car running 12. He restarted in 9th position, so he's lost 3 spots. Just went down to check on his race car, loose on the racetrack. It was loose before that stop. They made an adjustment, but it's still hard to handle.
This is a tough racetrack to get a hold of, and it changes as you go. You see these cars moving around up on the top of the racetrack. Down on the bottom we see Kevin Harvick. And a lot of these guys will need to adjust their cars to be able to run these different grooves.
Well, these cars here at Dover, generally they run tight. As the race goes on, they start losing the front end, start sliding around. And folks, you'll see the whole racetrack getting blacker and blacker. It's a concrete track, so it's kind of white. And as more rubber gets down, the track really changes.
I talked to Todd Bowyer this morning in the garage area, and usually the track does go tight. But he said with the last race here with this car tomorrow, their car actually went loose in the latter part of the race. So that makes it even harder to predict which way to adjust your car.
Well, that's one thing this track does, Andy. It just moves all over the place, and it's hard to get to handle. But if you got a good setup, hey, it'll eat up all those bad things that happen as the race goes on.
The air can be a big factor here, and what happens on your race car as well. The 07 is catching the 29, but let's show you here. Watch the battle here. Watch the 29 behind the 5 car, and watch the 8 pull up.
Oh, yeah, you see the 8 car getting right up behind the 29. See the back of that car of Kevin Harvick's wiggle around? That's all because you can make them loose like that. And you're going to use that air to your advantage today to make some passes. Get the guy in front of you out of control, then pass him. See, they're not touching each other. It's all aerodynamics packing up under the rear bumper of the car in front.
What's about to pack up under the rear bumper of the 29 car is the 07 just coming. That's Clint Bowyer. We talked about how he had come from 42nd. Clint joined us in our pit studio during qualifying. He was very, very frustrated with his qualifying run. Here's a guy who didn't have the best qualifying run, but he's got maybe the best race car here today. That's Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I was talking to this crew chief during practice. He said, you know, my car is completely set up at what they call a 7-post pull-down rig, a 7-post rig, and boy, it's almost a computer that sets it up. Take a look at this 99 car, Cole Edwards. He's flying too.
He's only on 2 tires on that last pit stop, so if he gets 4 tires on this car, he might be able to go toe-to-toe with Matt Kenseth. Both of these guys having very similar cars and probably similar setup.
More on Kurt Busch Day.
And Kurt Busch was one of those cars that also took on just 2 right side tires. His last report moments ago, the tires feel like basketballs. Rusty, what does that mean?
They just, sometimes there's just too much air in them. They slide around, and that's probably what he's talking right now. This team's complained a lot about, trying to keep the front of the car down and keep the air pressure buildup out of the front. And it seems like he's struggling with that right now.
Concrete racetracks have a lot of like abrasive bumps in it because you can't smooth it out like asphalt. Concrete's a whole different animal, and they've ground the racetrack and made it a lot smoother than it used to be. But now with this car tomorrow, it's got a lot harsher suspension. These guys are actually racing on bump stops, which makes that thing harsher when they go over these bumps.
122 laps of 400 are in the books. Our leader is Matt Kenseth. Take a look at the Ford lap leaders. There have been 6 lead changes among 5 different drivers. Denny Hamlin has led the most laps. He's led twice for 61 laps. Back with more from the Monster Mile in just a moment.
Welcome back to the Dodge Dealers 400 and the Monster Mile. This track can kill championship hopes or make you into a hero. Race number 2 in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. 12 drivers with a shot at the title, and Matt Kenseth is hoping to change his history in the chase. Let's get up to speed, beginning with Jamie.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth right now on the radio asking his crew chief Robbie Reiser, how fast are the guys behind me running? And he let him know they're right there, they're on your tail. So Matt Kenseth, though, said the track is actually tightening up, but right now he's getting a little loose off. Matt Kenseth, though, guys, happy with the car overall, running first.
now. Crew Chief Mike Ford asking him, did that work? The last adjustment? No. Too tight in the center was the report on lap 125. Needs to turn better if this 11 car is going to win. The 48 car of Jimmy Johnson right now running just a few positions back. Said earlier this week, the guy that wins a championship this year wants to be able to say, I beat the best at their best. It looks like that's going to happen this year. He's finding that out today. The pole sitter struggling back inside the top 10 right now, trying to work his way back to the front. Alan?
Kyle Busch fifth in the chase standings entering the race. His car had a little too much rear grip for his liking at the last caution. They made an adjustment, and you know, now it doesn't have enough rear grip. He's kind of sliding around, but still maintaining his position in 8th spot. Not bad. Jamie?
Yeah, Martin Truex Jr. running 9th right now. Remember, he won this race just a few months ago in June, his first ever Cup race. Since then, he has been on a roll. 6 top 5 since, gained 10 positions and landed himself in his first ever chase. Today, he said his car is just handling pretty well overall, but a little loose off. They had that fast pit stop that gained him a couple positions off pit road. The first pit stop in. Let's go to Dave.
Jamie, give Kevin Harvick a little time and things get better. That race car is coming back to him, kind of like his hunting trip this week, where he tried to shoot a 900-pound elk sitting in a tree, waiting for it. His first shot missed. The most nervous I've ever been, he said. Then he downed the elk. He got what he came for, but it took him a couple of times. This race car driver is a good hunter as well, Mike.
Clint Bowyer dug himself a bit of a hole in qualifying and rolled off the grid today, 42nd, but he has rallied back. He's all the way up to 12th right now, and with a very good race car. Last stop came in, took 2 tires, and the car has responded. No ill effects whatsoever for Clint Bowyer right now, who really is enjoying his run. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon, who was up inside the top 10 for quite a while this afternoon, is beginning to experience some problems. Feeling like the throttle is dragging a little bit. He's dropped back to 14th right now, still trying to get a handle, but still a lot of racing ahead of us here with only 136 laps in the books. Alan?
Got to drop back a good ways to find Tony Stewart. Tony started the race back in 28th spot, moved up a little bit to around 20th. They took some time on a pit stop to put in a spring rubber. He gained some spots on this last run, then began falling back. Tony says the front end of his car has no grip right now, but he says we're still okay. There's plenty of time. And we reported earlier about Jeff Burton, who was as far back as 40th place and asking for big changes to his race car. He now reports his car is better, although he's beginning to slide around some as we get later to the run. Burton is in 27th spot, although he's next to last on the lead lap. Susan?
Alan, Jeff Burton, the defending champ of this race, became the leader in the chase after that win. Different scenario today, and those are your 12 drivers in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Some great aggressive driving at the Monster Mile today.
Back at Dover, Delaware, NASCAR Nextel Cup Series action. Stop number 2 of 10 on the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. Let's take a look at our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. Which Hendrick Motorsports driver has the best chance to win today? Is it Kyle Busch, A, B, Jeff Gordon, C, Casey Mears, or D, Jimmy Johnson? You can text the word crew to 191 on your wireless phone and send in your answer. The results will be shown later in the race today. In fact, the only one of those that's led a lap thus far is Jimmy Johnson. He has led a single lap here earlier in the afternoon. Matt Kenseth is our leader in the 17 car. Now his Roush Fenway teammate in the 99 car, Carl Edwards, being shown in second position. Now let's listen to our in-race reporter Carl Edwards radio here just a moment ago.
Hey, Bob, I got a little drag in the throttle pedal, like it's a little bound up. Just started. Yeah, it's like when I pull off the throttle, it stays on the floor a little bit. I got to pull that thing just a little bit. It's kind of weird feeling.
Possible issues then for the 99 car and Carl Edwards, and we have yellow now on the racetrack. Caution number 5, and this is to allow the crew member, Art Harris, who was hit by the tire earlier in the afternoon, to be transported across the racetrack.
And that was another big break for the 31 car. Jeff Burton just ready to go a lap down. Kenseth was right underneath of him when that caution flag flew, so another break for Burton.
The reason they have to throw a caution to get a car out of here is because they don't have a tunnel like we do at a lot of racetracks where they can just drive under the racetrack. So they have to drive across the track, and they have to stop the race cars to do it.
Yeah, Jeff Burton, by the way, and Tony Stewart, just a couple of cars in front of Burton here, were both going to be lapped before the pit stops, which were about 10 or 11 laps away. So they both had a chance of going a lap down to Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth just setting a torrid pace right now. He was just flying out there, lapping everybody like crazy.
Again, safety crews have attended to Art Harris. He's awake and alert and will be transported to an area hospital for further evaluations and x-rays. Art, the gas man for the 55 car, struck by a tire on pit road, and there they are opening up the crossover gate to allow the ambulance to exit from the racetrack. A transport vehicle actually is going to be able to come in and then transport the driver, I should say the crew member, on out. Pit stops. Here come the 17. Whoops, almost some contact. The 17 of Kenseth and the 99 of Carl Edwards. Let's go down to Mike.
And a number of issues to address on the 99 car. First off, the handling of the race car. They're going to make a track bar adjustment and also an air pressure adjustment. But the big thing to address is the throttle linkage. They're not going to look at it now. They're going to go off pit road and come back down on the next lap. Alan?
Kyle Busch pits from 8th place, going to undo the adjustments they made in the last stop that got the back end of this car sliding around too much. More tire change. Jamie?
And Matt Kenseth said that track is rubbering up nicely, and it's getting tight in the middle, and he's a little loose off. They're going to make a track bar adjustment, a little air pressure, and Matt Kenseth is down and away. Dave?
Kurt Busch gave up third position coming down pit road. Air pressure's down all the way around, looking for grip in the 2 car as he now leaves pit road.
Race off of pit road. There is Matt Kenseth, continues as the leader. Dale Earnhardt Jr. gains a couple of spots. Kyle Busch gained 3. Carl Edwards, you heard all the adjustments there. He loses 5 positions, back to 7th spot. The reason for this caution flag was to allow this ambulance with crew member Art Harris, the gas man, to be taken to a nearby hospital for further evaluation. We'll be back to Dover, Delaware after these messages and a word from our ABC station. Back at Dover, Delaware, over 130,000 strong here watching race number 2 in the chase for the Nextel Cup. We are under caution for the 5th time today to allow an ambulance to exit the racetrack to take crew member Art Harris to an area hospital. Now, just before this caution, we were talking about issues with the 99 car on board for Carl Edwards. The throttle, the toe clips. What's that all about? Let's check in on our Chevy Cutaway car with Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Jerry. What we're talking about, folks, cameraman's going to show you a shot of how the throttle linkage works to the carburetor. Move the pedal up and down. Now we're going to show back inside here to the toe deal on the pedal. I've got the pedal wide open here. If it doesn't come back up, the driver's just going to pull it back up with his toe right here. It's real simple, but when you've already driven to the point of no return and that throttle hangs, that'll get you attention real quick, especially here in Dover, Delaware.
Tim, great explanation. That's a safety maneuver they put with the drivers years ago to be able to grab that throttle with your foot and pull it back up. For more information on throttle, log on to ESPN.com. Search word Autotech.
That's the last thing you want to be dealing with at a track like this, I got to think, Rusty.
No, it really is. I think Carl Edwards, making the right move, checking it out, trying to get it fixed because you got to deal with it the rest of the day.
248 laps to go here in the stop number 2 in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Pace car is going to pull away. Matt Kenseth, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 2nd, and Kurt Busch is 3rd. They come into turn 4. Let's listen in. Kenseth pulling away by some 6 car lengths over Earnhardt Jr. Kurt Busch back in 3rd spot. Greg Biffle in the 16 car is 4th. Then come 3 chasers. There's the battle side by side. That is now for 2nd position.
The battle of the beer cars right there, racing each other back and forth. One going for the championship, one going for just the wins. The wins is all the 8-car Dale Earnhardt Jr. thinks about right now, guys.
They need to sort it out and see if they can run down Matt Kenseth before they let him get too far out.
Well, this is exactly what Matt Kenseth needed. He's finally got clean racetrack, not battling anybody. He's going to go up there and try to lead the most laps now to get those bonus points, and that looks like he's in pretty good shape to do that the way this car's running now.
Possible problem for the leader. Jamie?
Well, Doc, we're just getting word that the alternator may be broken on that 17. They're saying battery number 1 has about 10 volts and the second battery has about 12 volts. Rusty, what can Matt do from the cockpit right now to save himself and keep the lead?
Well, Jamie, if he's got to switch in the car where they can switch from battery 1 to battery 2, they'll do that. But he's really got to start killing everything now. Turn off the air conditioning system, turn off the fans, turn off everything related to pulling down battery power. And just rough it out. It's going to get hot inside the car because you don't have a helmet cool going right now, but that's all they can do.
Battle for 6th position here. Denny Hamlin trying to move back toward the front, challenging inside of Jimmy Johnson, and he will take that spot away. Andy, back to the alternator issue now. If they are able to go to a backup battery and the alternator isn't working, how long is that going to last?
Well, it's not going to. There's a lot of laps left in this race. You got 242 laps to go. And it's going to be iffy for that thing to make it all the way if the alternator's not working at all. They've got 2 batteries, but like I said, that one battery's getting low and the other one's sitting there charged, but it won't last the whole race, I don't think, if they don't have if they turn everything off, it might.
Well, I can give you a little information. Our Busch Series car yesterday, the one that I own, lost 3 batteries yesterday. 3 batteries went dead when the alternator, so it's going to be tough to get this 17 to the end if he's having alternator problems.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. using a lot of racetrack. We've seen the back of that Chevy wag a little bit as he's trying to hold off the 2-car of Kurt Busch for a second spot. There again, a little bit of a bobble.
Yeah, and Kurt's just desperately trying to get around him because he's just thinking points right now. Junior's car is not as good as the 2-car. Look at that. Gets an arrow loose, gets that nose under the back of that 8 Budweiser car, and that's it.
Ryan Newman in the 12th car. This is a battle for 12th position. Jeff Gordon will give up that spot, and Newman will take it away.
See that 42 car, Juan Pablo Montoya coming in the picture. It looks like they've got their car tuned up a little better than it was at the beginning of the race when he was losing spots after qualifying second.
Montoya is the highest running Robestas Rookie of the Year candidate right now, being shown in 14th position.
But take a look at Clint Bowyer. We're riding along with him right now. Started dead last, and now he's got himself worked all the way up to the 9th position. So he's making tracks. His pit stops are helping him. Plus, his car's really handling good.
That's the best way to make those spots, have a fast car.
Oh, if you got a fast car, you can get a lot of stuff done. Mike, you got more no 7 car?
Yeah, and Rusty, you could probably comment on this about the importance of a spotter. You got to give a lot of credit to Mike Dillon today. He's really been coaching Clint on how to drive this racetrack toward the middle of this a little bit tight. So Mike Dillon was trying to find a line for him, telling him where to go on entry and an exit, and also telling him not to race anybody in the middle. And it really seemed to make a difference for Clint Bowyer. You've got to give a lot of credit to a spotter. During your racing days, how much did your spotters help you?
My spotter helped me a lot. In fact, one of my driving coaches was Roger Penske. He was always up there going, hey, get out of the throttle early, let the car take a set. And he was always telling me where they were running, on the bottom, in the middle, and on the top. So his spotter really helped him a lot. Mike Dillon did.
Mike Dillon is Richard Childress's son-in-law, and he's a big player in this race team. And he's up there on the roof, and he is coaching Clint Bowyer. And I talked to him this morning. He tells me that even on pit road, they had a little strategy for pit road to keep him out of trouble because he's pitted so far back. So he's always working to try to help Clint. They're a great team.
Always helpful to have a former driver as a spotter. Roger Penske, a former driver and a spotter. Mike Dillon, an accomplished Busch Series driver. Now watch the contact here a moment ago between the 5 and the 8. Whoop. Or was there just arrow loose?
I believe you just looked at arrow loose right there. I don't think he'd want to hit his own car that he's going to drive next year, make everybody mad right off the bat. But
So it shows you how dramatic that arrow effect is because it looked just like he had been hit from behind.
Oh, man, I'll tell you that, the arrow loose going at the corners, everything here, you can flat get them sideways.
There's Greg Biffle going around the outside of Kurt Busch.
And he's doing the right thing. You can't pass these guys. These car tomorrows are very hard to pass. And Greg Biffle said, hey, I'm just going around the outside. Just choose a different groove so we can get the downforce back, get the car sticking.
Made it look easy.
Greg Biffle, who ran the NASCAR Busch Series race here yesterday, had an unscheduled stop, lost a couple laps, and drove that car back to the lead lap into a top 10 finish. More on Biffle with Dave.
Yeah, Jerry, that's what I was going to say. This is a weekend where you were going to have to deal with Greg Biffle on the pole for yesterday's Busch race, if not for some problems. To finish your thought, he ended up finishing 9th on the lead lap. They bounced back really well. This car, very fast in practice. Remember, he spun on his qualifying lap. Thought he could have gotten more out of it if he hadn't spun. So Greg Biffle running toward the front today. A car that's been just a tick on the tight side, but a good weekend for Biffle.
That was an incredible spin, too, because he went down on his second lap. Greg Biffle did and spun that thing clear around, never hit the wall, stayed in the throttle and kept it off the wall. And a great piece of driving in that qualifying day.
Some racetracks are finesse racetracks, kind of like New Hampshire last week, where a flat racetrack and you really got to use finesse. This is one of those racetracks you can just go out there and attack. There's high banks and everything. It kind of just plays into Greg Biffle's hands a little bit.
Lap 169. And here comes the 29 car on pit road. Has to be an unscheduled stop. Dave.
Yeah, it definitely is, Doc. He rated about 3 laps ago, said, I think I've got a loose wheel. I think it's in the rear. Now, I don't know if they've gotten to the exact left or right rear on that. We'll see if they go to 2 or 4 tires. But we'll take a look when the wheel comes off. Car out of control for him right now. Feels like they didn't get all of the lug nuts tight on that last stop, perhaps, and that wheel is loose. See him now crawling into his pit stall at pit road speed. The crew will go to work on the right side, and it appears they're just going to stay with those 2 tires as they get ready to maybe put left sides over the wall. Yep, they're going to change all 4. That's the safe move if you can't tell which tire might have the problem.
That's a heads-up move by Todd Bowyer and that crew down there, because I know it's a 50-50 chance you get it right, but it seems like, practically speaking, it's about 80-20 to get it. 20% that you'll get it right, 80% you'll get it wrong.
Brad? Yeah, absolutely. And I spoke with Todd Bowyer the other day, just right before qualifying as well. And I asked him, I said, Todd, it seems like you guys have run out of all of your luck after Daytona. I said, and you fought back so hard at Richmond. What do you have to do to turn this thing around and win this championship? He said, you know, Brad, we're just going to keep our nose to the grindstone. We feel like we have to try to make up some consistency. We lost that throughout the season. It ebbed and flowed. We want to try to be consistent throughout the chase. We don't have to win every race, but we want to go out and win as many laps as possible and stay out of trouble. I think we've used up all of our bad luck. Doc?
Exactly. That can happen in a hurry.
Left rear.
Lap 173. The 17 car, 35-year-old Matt Kenseth is our leader. He has led twice for 89 laps. He already has a favorite Dover memory. It took place on June 4, 2006. Matt Kenseth came here and started in 19th position, but he led 83 laps and went on to win it that day. He's already a former winner at the Monster Mile.
Back at Dover International Speedway, the Monster Mile, race number 2 in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. And here are the results from our Crew Chief Challenge. Which Hendrick Motorsports driver has the best chance to win today? And the fans say Jimmy Johnson. What do you think, Brett?
Well, I think it's a good pick. I don't think you can go wrong with D or B. You can probably throw ASC in there as well, but D and B are obviously great picks.
Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon sitting atop of the point standings right now. And on the outside of the chase, looking in, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who has run really solid today. He started 21st, moved up to 7th, currently in 4th, but he's run as well as 2nd. But there has been some frustrations for Dale Jr. today. Dale Jr. stealing some thunder from the chase this week with the big announcement, worst kept secret in NASCAR, that he was going to make the move next season to the number 88. His 2 primary sponsors will be Mountain Dew, Amp Energy, and National Guard.
Well, you know, and obviously he's got a great race car today, Susie. He's got a top 5 car, and he's driving it really hard. And I like the response from Tony Eury Jr. He said, 10-4, keep on pedaling that sled. You're doing a great job. So it looks like he's going to be a contender today. Big announcements this week. Obviously, we're looking forward to next season, and the whole, like I say, a whole fresh new start for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
But Dale Jr. still wants to finish out this season strong Armstrong, a lot of respect for Budweiser, the A-Car, DEI, and of course for his fans.
Absolutely. Anytime you strap into one of these things, you have the opportunity to go racing, you want to race.
It's better. I like green better than I did red.
I'm a Dale Jr. fan, but this must be the ugliest T-shirt I've ever seen.
Doesn't make any difference which number he has, you know. It's Dale Jr.
I'll follow him wherever he goes. Yeah, I don't care if it changes every year. I'll keep changing.
What about those diehard fans with the 8 tattoos?
Add another one.
Take it off.
Before the announcement had even officially been made, about 200,000 T-shirts were sold. But out of respect to Budweiser, that AMP Energy, National Guard, those items won't be available at the track until next season.
Yeah, and obviously number 88, his late grandpa, the great Ralph Earnhardt, drove that numbered car back in 1957.
Hey, but back in the chase today, Kevin Harvick driving that number 29 car. He came into the chase in the 10th spot. Really been kind of an up and down season for him. But right now, we're looking at the 48.
Troubles for Jimmy Johnson, our reigning champion and co-points leader, has had some contact with the concrete wall. He's in trouble.
Well, the back of the car's wiggling around a lot. Looks like maybe a right rear flat on that car. Not for sure yet. Yeah, it looks like the tire's down, Andy, coming at you.
It's got a definite problem here, and it looks like it may be that right rear tire.
Yeah,
looks
definitely
like
flat, definitely flat right rear. Kept it out of the wall, held on to it, so he's going to lose a lap or two with this problem right now.
On the inner liner, though.
Did a great job to keep the car out of the wall. We've already seen Kevin Harvick come down pit road with a tire issue, and he lost 2 laps. Here is the reigning champ on pit road, Dave.
And they work on what to do in these situations. They've already got the car up off the right rear, and that flat tire coming off. Now going around the left side. They see him make a chassis adjustment as well. Jimmy wasn't real happy with his race car anyway. Crew Chief Chad Canals calling him to get into a rhythm. He immediately started doing that, but that's when the troubles ensued, and he had trouble with that right rear tire. Jamie?
Well, right now, that was a huge loss for the 48 of Jimmy Johnson and the 29 of Kevin Harvick. Looks like both these drivers are going to go 2 laps down. And guys being 2 laps down, man, that's going to be hard to get back.
The reason you lose so much ground here at Dover is the pit road speed is 35 miles an hour, and that just takes forever to go down pit road at that speed.
And while the 48 was coming down pit road, you could see a moment ago on the left side of your screen, we showed you Tony Stewart going a lap down. So now we've got 3 chasers that have had some issues. Stewart is a lap down. Jimmy Johnson is 2 laps down in the 48 car, being shown back in 37th position, and Kevin Harvick is 2 laps down in the 34th position.
You never count out Jimmy Johnson and Chad Canals, but this is a huge blow to them, and it's, at this point of the race, to be that far down and trying to fight for these laps back are not going to be easy.
It really is, because right now, Jimmy Johnson's all the way down the 9th in the point standings if it ended right now. But the guy not having much problem at all is Clint Bowyer in that 07 car right behind Jimmy Johnson. I mean, this guy's all the way up to 7th place right now, and he started dead last.
Got a great car, and he's just kept himself in good shape, out of trouble.
Man, a tire changer for Kevin Harvick. The left rear has got to be feeling terrible. And just bad luck for Jimmy Johnson also with that right rear flat. 2 big upsets just then.
That's bad luck on the 48 car to get in a flat tire, but leaving a wheel loose is really not bad luck. That's something you can control. And so, you know, these 2 guys having a couple different problems.
Remember, this chase to the championship is a 10-race chase. You can actually have 1 bad finish and still be okay. In fact, the last 3 years, the champions have all had their issues. Remember, last year, Jimmy Johnson finished 39th and had his issue. Tony Stewart finished 25th and still won the title, and Kurt Busch finished 42nd and still won the championship. You may get 1 mulligan, but that's all in this 10-race chase to become NASCAR's champion. Welcome back to Dover, Delaware, the Monster Mile, the 1-mile concrete oval. NASCAR Nextel Cup Series, stop number 2 in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. Now, here's how the top 12 stand right now. Matt Kenseth would currently be our points leader. He currently being shown first. Clint Bowyer all the way from 42nd starting spot to be shown in 7th spot. And take a look down the line. Now, just a moment ago, Jeff Burton went a lap down. He's back in 11th. Kevin Harvick 2 laps down with a tire issue. Jimmy Johnson also a couple of laps down, back to being shown in 30th position. Those two cars, so 4 of our 8 chasers are now no longer on the lead lap because this guy, the 17 car, is on fire.
Now the Monster Mile is just eating these guys up. These guys just cannot seem to get the handling right, but the only guy getting it really good right now is Matt Kenseth. That car is stuck to the ground good.
When you're out there driving like Matt Kenseth leading the race, and you see Jimmy Johnson having a problem, and you just want to try to bury him right here as a driver.
Oh, you want to bury him right now, Andy. You're feeling really good about it, but you're kind of, okay, I got him down. Now I don't need to make any mistakes. I don't want to screw up and get myself in that same position. That's what you're thinking.
Told you a moment ago, the 31 car of Jeff Burton being shown in 19th position. He is now 1 lap down, having been passed by his former teammate, Matt Kenseth. Now, Jeff Burton and this team, well, trouble on the racetrack as we're getting ready to talk about Burton's issues with the car of tomorrow, and we have an issue here with the 45 car of Kyle Petty.
The 11 just freaking ran all over you.
We see a little bit of damage right now in the right front fender
right there, Denny.
of the 11. Now he's really got that thing in the wall. Going to have to work on it hard.
Here's another chaser with some problems. This car's been struggling a little bit. He was great the first part of the race. He was leading the most laps. Him and Matt Kenseth were going toe-to-toe. Then seemed like they were about after the second pit stop. They just struggled a lot.
Yeah, they have been struggling a little bit. Mike Ford's trying to calm them down right now as crew chief. Say, don't get too aggressive, but
they got some damage on the right side.
And the left side.
There's the damage to the Dodge of Kyle Petty, the former winner here.
Definitely looks like Kyle Petty got the worst of this.
There's the contact.
Looks like oh, man. Looks like he just got right into the back of Kyle Petty.
He's got real aggressive behind Kyle Petty. Got right up on his back of his car, lifted him up, got him loose. And just pretty doggone aggressive. Let's go out the onboard from Clint Bowyer's car. Yeah, he just hits Kyle coming off the corner.
Looks like, looks like Clint got some damage there too, maybe.
And you know, guys, it just looks like, I know there's a lot of tension there.
Pit stops are the order of the day here under caution number 6. Let's head down to Mike Massaro.
And Clint Bowyer real fired up on the radio. He got a piece of that, a little bit of damage to the right front fender. They're going to go to work there, try to pull that out away from the tire. Clint unhappy, completely unhappy. Thinks that might have really ruined their day. They're still working on the right front tire. Let's go to Jamie.
And Matt Kenseth, remember, he's having that alternator problem. He's talking to his crew on the radio. He said, guys, I know this sounds stupid, but be as quick as you can, because the longer I'm in the pits, the better chance of overheating. All of his brake blowers are off. He's trying to conserve that power. Let's go to Dave.
Kurt Busch's car heads down pit road, having made a 4-tire change, air pressure and track bar adjustment. It starts out a little too loose, goes tight. Those are the adjustments, maybe just to give him something else to work with. Gave up second position to come on pit road.
Race off of pit road. Ryan Newman gaining 3 spots. A lot of gainers. Juan Pablo Montoya now showing up in the top 10. Caution number 6 on the day here, coming out on lap 203. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Dover, Delaware, we are just getting reports of a violent crash that has taken place in the funny car eliminations at the Fall Nationals in Ennis, Texas. A 14-time NHR champion, John Force, is alert and conscious after breaking both legs and an arm in a crash with Kenny Bernstein. Now, these cars collided after they crossed the finish line. These two, again, in a funny car incident out in Ennis, Texas. They crossed the finish line, had contact, and John Force has been taken to the medical center in Dallas for further treatment. Coverage of that final in Dallas can be seen on ESPN2 tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Here in Dover, Delaware, we are under caution for the 6th time, coming out on lap 203. Contact between the 45 car and the 11 car. Denny Hamlin. And here again is Denny Hamlin's car losing part of a piece of a brake rotor.
And this was a big setback for Denny Hamlin. He got in the back of Kyle Petty exiting turn 4, and I gotta believe that Kyle might have got just a little bit loose because Denny wouldn't go up there and take himself out. But after he hit Kyle, he shot up the racetrack, got in the wall. It's broke the brake rotor now in the car, which this is something that's got to be taken back to the garage like they're doing now. So a big upset in our points now. We've got problems with everybody.
He was running in 6th position. Now he's in the garage area, and our Dave Burns is there.
And the most dramatic part about that, guys, was Denny Hamlin brought this car limping down pit road and into the garage area without brakes. The team was instructed Denny will have the car in first gear. He'll be at pit road speed. He'll drag the clutch to try to slow it down, but you've got to catch the car, and that's what the crew did when he came to his garage stall. The guys got in front of it and around it and slowed it down to a stop. Now they'll try to work on that brake system as well as inspect the rest of the damage, including the front splitter. Mike?
And speaking of splitters, that may be a concern for the 07 of Clint Bowyer. Aside from the right front fender, it appears that one of the brackets that supports the splitter has been snapped off on the right side, and they're having real difficulty trying to reconnect that. They put a lot of bear bond on the right side, trying to get the aerodynamics right on that race car, but the splitter may be even a bigger concern. Bowyer again down pit road for what appears to be about the 3rd time under this caution.
And Mike, I reported earlier on that alternator going out on the 17. Matt Kenseth, he's leading right now. Robbie Reiser, the crew chief right now. Robbie, how concerned are you guys right now? I know he's turned off those brake fans right now. How much is that helping, and are you concerned still?
You're probably more concerned about it than I am. We got 2 batteries.
Yes, that answers it.
We got 2 batteries in the car. We're fine to run all day, so that's not really a big deal. We've been through this before.
He talked about he wanted a quick pit stop. How important was that you guys were out of here in just over 12 seconds?
You know, we got some new guys here, and, you know, Russ Trupp, who's been our jackman for a long time, has had to retire because of some back injury, and we've had to put Cameron Cobb in place, and he's done a great job for us getting us back up to speed and holding our own at pit road here.
All right, guys, Matt Kenseth holding his own, leading the race. Doc?
Jamie, let's update the issues that they're dealing with here in the 17 crew as we head down to our ESPN Dish Tech Center and Tim Brewer.
Right here. The splitter's basically bulletproof. We showed some 357 bullet holes in it last week. It's pretty much indestructible. But up in here, there's a bar that runs behind here. You got a 1/4-inch heim joint. It's stainless steel. It runs down here and affixes to this area right here. Should be pretty much simple to reconstruct. But this thing right here, it's pretty stout. But I talked with Billy Barkheimer last week in Loudon. The car can run without a splitter. It's just not going to have a lot of downforce on the front of it. Jerry?
Thanks, Tim. There's the damage on the splitter on the front of the 07 car. That'll come all the way from 42nd to be running in the top 5. He was actually running 7th when that contact happened a moment ago. For more information on splitters, log on to ESPN.com. Search word Tech Center.
NASCAR will allow you to run without that splitter if you happen to knock it off. They won't let you, however, run without the rear wing that's on the back. So a couple of aerodynamic devices that NASCAR does require the wing to be on the car, but if they knock that splitter off, it's good to go.
Well, that splitter's awful strong. I think that splitter's going to stay on that car even if that bracket is off of there. We saw how hard those things, how tough they are at Watkins Glen when Ryan Newman went flying through there and the splitter held up.
Our leader, Matt Kenseth, also atop the point standings in the chase as he will lead him down with Kurt Busch and Greg Biffle right behind. Kenseth has led twice for 127 laps. We have 189 to go here at the Monster Mile. Kenseth pulls out 5 to 6 car lengths. Kyle Busch on the move, back in the pack. Ryan Newman as well.
Now, Kurt Busch has just had a solid car throughout the day. He's had that little bit of problem over there in New Hampshire last weekend with the carburetor linkage, but today, that car has been pretty flawless. His lap times have been almost comparable to Matt Kenseth, and he's having the day he needs to have. He can't use any more mulligans, can't have any problem like that. And the car Pat Tryson-led number 2 car is on its game today, guys.
These two guys are really on their game, but Tony Stewart, he's a lap down. He's actually probably the one that can maybe get his lap back of these guys that are down a lap. You've got Johnson and Harvick that are both 2 laps down, so they'll have to fight their way to at least get one back.
We might mention that Jeff Burton fans, Jeff Burton he got the free pass on that last caution flag to get back on the last lap. Whoa, and some an argument, frustration in the garage. Kyle Petty over there with Denny Hamlin, and the crews are separating them down there. You saw there was a lot of frustration when they had contact, and the NASCAR officials jumped in between them. Dave.
And Kyle Petty did come over to the window of the 11 car. Denny was still in the cockpit, and after Kyle had some heated words with Denny, as if to say, well, if you want to go, Denny went ahead and hopped out of the race car. The teams, as you say, separated them, and now they walk away. But obvious frustrations down here in the garage area.
Here's what happened a moment ago. And this is the onboard camera. Here's Kyle Petty coming over to talk to Denny Hamlin about what happened on the racetrack. He wants to talk to him so Denny can hear it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kyle's very, very mad. He feels like he got roughed up by Denny out there. Kyle's had a tough year this year. He's making a point, but you never reach in there and slam some guy's helmet. Denny's going for the championship. He's very frustrated right now.
And NASCAR official is trying to keep Kyle away and try to calm down and intervene there. And finally, Denny says, okay, I'm coming out.
I think he's just had enough of it now. He's just going to come out and try to take care of business.
He's out of the car now while the repairs continue to his 11 car. By the way, Denny Hamlin had led twice for 61 laps. He had one of the best cars here early on in the afternoon, and now he's frustrated as well in the garage area as the repairs continue.
You can understand the frustration from Kyle Petty, though. It felt like he got dumped.
Yeah, but one thing you need to think about Denny Hamlin, too, guys. He's sick. He feels horrible in the car. You know, he's been taking all the IVs, been trying to get his best shape he can, so he's probably physically not the best he can be.
And he certainly had the most to lose in that situation by being one of the chase contenders.
Hamlin now being shown last. He is 12th in the chase points here. He came in 9th after the first race at New Hampshire on the basis of that 15th place finish. 218 laps in. The Monster Mile will chew you up. It will fire you up. It will produce incredible frustrations inside and outside of the car. Matt Kenseth still showing the way. Back in a moment.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Chevy and American Revolution. Allstate, the official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. Office Depot, the official office products partner of NASCAR. And TGI Fridays Restaurants, where the three-course menu is back. Give me more Fridays.
You see that monster, and now we know why. The pressure building, frustration fueled here at Dover International Speedway. Lots of pressure from that chase, and Denny Hamlin, one of the drivers in the chase, got in the back of Kyle Petty, and Petty went to Hamlin's garage to have his say. Petty, of course, he's not just running for pride. He's looking for a position in owner's points, but Denny Hamlin, not the only driver who's having issues today. The chase drivers, Monster Mile having its way.
Absolutely. This racetrack is just relentless, and it never lets up. And every driver that's in this chase has that in mind. Little bitty things have happened all day long, and they will continue to happen till the end of this race. You have to persevere in order to finish the Monster Mile.
It's the little things, and every point counts from here on in, Doc.
Wow, tempers flaring, tensions high can happen. It can all happen here at the Monster Mile, and a lot of frustration. Matt Kenseth, and here's the 26th car of Jamie McMurray having his troubles, and he's down. Oh, just gets by with, apparently has damage and maybe a right rear tire.
Tires right now. Can I make it without going a lap down? I don't think so. I don't think so. We can get 2, maybe.
It's a bad decision not coming down right there, I'm afraid, for Jamie McMurray.
Well, he might be able to hold on right there, Andy. I mean, the caution's out right now. They're getting ready to pick up the leaders. And Jamie's in front of him, so he might be able to stay in the lead lap.
Show you again what happened to Jamie McMurray to bring out caution number 7. Oh, contact with Montoya.
Montoya gets in his right front, then gets in his right rear, blows both right side tires out, and they're sliding down and they're blowing as this is happening. And you talk about a melee, barely misses hitting Montoya, coming back up in a racetrack. And Jamie does a great job holding on to that thing. That thing was definitely out of control.
If he can get it back in here without tearing up the body with these flat tires, he'll maybe stay on the lead lap. This car here is a little tougher. The old car, or the car that we run next week at Kansas, those are so fragile. With a flat tire, it'll just destroy the body. These seem to be a little tougher.
And there's a classic case of getting loose.
19 trying to come outside. All clear. Come on. All clear up.
They came off a turn 2 and just got real loose and spun the car. Got up into Montoya.
We've been watching these guys race real hard. Michael Waltrip was in part of this mix earlier. These guys were racing real hard for those spots.
Montoya, the highest running rookie right now, in 15th position. They will come on the pit road once again now, slowing down to 35 miles an hour, headed down toward Mike Massaro.
And Mark Martin hits his marks. He's looking to be a little bit more free. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment to the right rear tire, 4-tire change in fuel for the U.S. Army Chevrolet, which, by the way, this is actually the first piece of DEI equipment Mark Martin's driven all year. Alan?
Middle frame, Kyle Busch, right side tires only, already gone.
Pit stops, and there comes the 16 car, Greg Biffle, off behind Kyle Busch. Again, it's typical of the Monster Mile, full contact stock car racing on the high-banked 1-mile concrete oval here in Dover, Delaware. 170 laps remain. We have had 6 lead changes among 5 different leaders. Matt Kenseth has done a phenomenal job. Front tire carrier J.D. Holcomb out of Whitesburg, Kentucky, getting it done for Kyle Busch and the Hendrick team on this latest pit stop. Back with the green flag in just a moment.
Been a crazy day here at the Dover, Delaware Speedway. We're about 10 feet from Kyle Petty's wrecked race car, which is being worked on right now by his crew. Kyle, you've been sitting here for a while thinking about it. You did have a chance to go over and talk with Denny. What do you believe happened on the racetrack, and what were you trying to communicate to him? What do you believe happened on the racetrack, and what were you trying to say to Denny?
Well, I'll tell you, just like I told everybody, I guess it's my fault because I watched the Busch race and they said he was sick. So I guess whatever medicine he's taking makes him hallucinate because he needs 3 lanes to get around somebody on the racetrack because he just ran all over me. He was running 5th or 6th or wherever he was running. I'd let the leader by. I'd let the 2nd place guy by, the 3rd place guy. Thought I gave him plenty of room. The next thing I know, he's got me jacked up and turned around. So if that can be construed as my fault, I guess it's my fault.
You were very frustrated because you have a wrecked race car?
Well, I'm frustrated because we're racing for points. I know those guys are in a chase, but we're racing hard for the top 35, myself and Schrader, and I feel bad for the 22 team, the Caterpillar team of Blaney. They didn't even make the race this week. So when you look at it, there's a group of us that are racing for the other end, and I hate it, but there's 43 cars out here. And just like I said, if maybe he's a great race car driver. He drives really well. He's got tons of talent. Won more races than I have, I'll be honest with that. But at the same time, you know, if he can't drive but 500 miles and stay focused, maybe he needs to give up the Busch job on Saturday and focus on the Cup stuff because obviously he's lost his focus today.
And Kyle, your famous father came over and had a couple of words with you. What did he have to say?
Nothing. He just patted me on the back. One of those deals, man. Hey, this is part of racing, you know what I mean? That's just the way it is.
Kyle Petty here in the garage area. Now the crew is working on it. Looks like they may attempt to get this thing back on the track, but it's already been a very long day for the 45 bunch stock.
Kyle Petty referring to the owner's points, and the top 35 is critical. That's where you want to be. His team was 34th coming in. There you see the Richard Petty team. That's the owner listed as Richard Petty. And you want to be in the top 35. Glenn Wood, the owner of the 21 car that Kenny Schrader was driving. Bill Davis's car, Dave Blaney, as you heard Kyle mention, did not make the show today. The 10 car, you know, back there, they're trying to get that car up in the top 35. It's critical to be there because if you're in the top 35 as you're entering 2008, you're guaranteed to make the first 5 races, including the season opening Daytona 500.
Well, as far as going in the top 35 in points, Kyle's going to be okay there. He won't fall out of that because of what happened today. Blaney missing this race and not being a threat to close it up. So he's okay, just not okay because of the wreck.
Schrader's having a tough day too, so he won't get too far out on him.
166 laps to the checkered flag at Dover, and Kenseth will lead him down to the green once again.
This could get interesting here. You got the 48 car and Jimmy Johnson with fresh tires.
You know, Jimmy Johnson's really going to try to work him over, get one of those laps back. He's 2 laps down right now, and he's going crazy trying to get one of them back at least. And that's the way you got to drive. Like it's a qualifying lap, go for it.
Kenseth the leader. Kurt Busch in second. You remember the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson is 2 laps down. How about Ryan Newman being shown back in the 3rd position? Ryan Newman on a 72 race winless streak. There comes Ryan in the 12 car.
It's just a matter of time before the 12 car really gets his act back together. Newman really gets around Dover, Delaware. This particular track is really good, so it wouldn't surprise me at all that he gets back up. Look at the 29 of Harvick. Big problems on the restart. Can't seem to get the car up to speed right now.
Kevin Harvick had 4 fresh tires by pitting that last caution. He was lined up right behind Jimmy Johnson on the restart. I don't know what he's got going on here, but something's wrong.
No, he's definitely got a problem right now. It's either a loose lug nuts or a tire going flat, or he might even have an engine issue. We'll have to check down the pit road reporters to see what's going on down there.
Harvick backslide.
Pit this time, 35.50.
He will come off the racetrack now 2 laps down and lose more laps here with this green flag pit stop.
When it rains, it pours
right side
sometimes.
only here, right side only.
That's Todd Bowyer saying right sides only, so they really feel like whatever problem they have is on the right side.
And you hate to speculate on things. I know I just speculated a little bit there, but I used to be a driver, and when that happened, it was always a loose lug nut or a tire going soft on the restart. But that car was sliding all over the place, and you got to believe that maybe it might have been a right rear tire because the right front looked like it was up, but no problem there.
And we'll drop him down to 12th in the chase points. He will be the last driver on the chase. As of right now being shown back in 36th position.
Well, for a point there, it looks like maybe there was a chance for Harvick to recover with those 4 fresh tires if he got past Kansas, but right now it looks like he's sealed his fate. He's in trouble right now.
8th and 9th position, watching the 8 car. Earnhardt Jr. in 9th, at 25 of Mears in 8th spot.
Earnhardt Jr.'s had a solid car throughout the day. Right now he's running 9th, and the car is handled well. He's had some pit problems and kind of got him hung back in the field occasionally, but he's overcome it. He's drove the car back up to the front.
Threading the needle by the 83 car there, Brian Vickers.
That Vickers having a rough day today. You thought he'd be a little better than that. He's really good at these high bank racetracks.
2nd position, Kurt Busch getting a challenge from Carl Edwards, Concrete Carl. On the bottom of the racetrack, trying to take that spot away, and will do it.
Yeah, Carl just loves these concrete racetracks. You see, dominated at Bristol, Tennessee. Doing a lot of work in engineering right now, putting a lot of his hopes in Bob Osborne. Really thinks that the engineering department of Roush right now is very responsible for what's going on. And with Matt Kenseth dominating like he is, you can't really question that, you know?
Well, as good as Matt's running, I still think Carl Edwards can mount a charge here at the end of the race. He's got a great race car. You got to think they have similar setups, and the track is changing as we go.
There's why we call him Concrete Carl. Of his 6 wins this year, 5 of them have come on concrete. All 4 of his NASCAR Busch Series wins. By the way, he's leading the Busch Series points and pulling away. So he's trying to win 2 championships, trying to be the first driver to ever win the NASCAR Busch title and the NASCAR Nextel Cup title in the same year.
Well, evidently the issue with the throttle on Carl Edwards has kind of gone away, or else he's understand how to manage it right now.
Hopefully it's gone away, because that's just a real bad problem to have to deal with, is having that throttle sticking. But you know, if it hasn't got any worse, Carl can figure out how to manage it, and he looks like he's done a great job so far with it.
Well, here at Dover, one of the key things is once you get into the corner and the car sets, you got to be able to go part throttle and be able to modulate the throttle in and out of the gas to control the car off the corner. So if he can just have to pull back on it going at the corner, that's probably manageable right there.
Let's update what's going on with Kevin Harvick in the 29 car. Dave?
And Doc, when a driver knows, and the right rear tire for Kevin Harvick had a big puncture in it right there. You see it circled on this right rear tire. Earlier, a loose wheel, now a punctured right rear. It's not been a good day for the 29 bunch.
Now being shown 3 laps down in 37th position.
He had 2 flat tires last week at New Hampshire. Now he's had another flat tire, a loose wheel here, and it's really buried Kevin Harvick.
Haven't talked much about the 01 car, the U.S. Army sponsorship for Mark Martin, who's the 4-time winner here. You heard him, Tommy, heard Mike mentioning a moment ago. It's the first time he's driven a DEI car in 2007. They've had DEI engines in the cars from Ginn Motorsports now when they merged about a month and a half ago. Mark, again, will drive the 8 car. He will share the 8 car with Army sponsorship in 2008 with rookie Eric Almirola.
But right now, currently running 5th. And if you talk to Mark Martin about what is one of his favorite racetracks, he'll throw Dover in that mix with you. Because, Andy, he always always gets around this track good. You get yourself in trouble, you take Mark Martin to Dover, he'll probably bail you out.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that we haven't talked about Mark Martin any more than we have, being as that we're at Dover.
Well,
but now he's in the top 5.
He's been pretty silent, but he's been progressively working his way through the field. Right now, we're coming up on 150 laps to go in the race today, and Mark's got himself positioned right where he wants to be.
Next time by will indeed be 150 laps to go. It is Martin Newman, Kurt Busch Edwards, all chasing Matt Kenseth back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
This telecast is available on ABC HD, presented by DLP HD TV. Now we know the Monster Mile can eat up championship hopes, and it's doing just that today, as you'll see in the FedEx race rundown. Kevin Harvick came in the second week of the chase in 10th position, had never won here. A loose tire finds him 3 laps down.
Just a real unfortunate incident. Thought it could have been one with the right side tires when he came in, and obviously found out he had tires going down. Just one of those things that happens at Dover.
Jimmy Johnson started the day in first, a flat tire for the 48 car, and he loses ground.
Once again, you have to persevere and overcome these obstacles to win this chase. Dover is hard on equipment, people, and parts. You have to continue on.
Denny Hamlin runs well here. He won the Busch race yesterday, but probably the toughest day of all the chase drivers. He gets in the back of Kyle Petty. Petty crashed hard, and then a confrontation in the garage.
Both of these guys, tempers getting the best of both. Kyle Petty trying to keep the Petty Enterprises car in the top 35. Denny Hamlin racing for points. Just a bad mixture. Very combustible.
Yeah, Petty fighting for those owners' points. Hamlin started the day in 9th, but the day has belonged to Matt Kenseth, who's dominated, as we get up to speed on our 12 chase drivers, beginning with Jamie.
Matt Kenseth continues, like you said, to lead the way and set the pace. That alternator not continuing to be a problem. He shut off all those fans. You got to imagine it's getting hot inside that cockpit, but he's continuing to keep it on the gas, guys, and lead as we go. Great day so far. The best news for Matt Kenseth, he said this is the best his car has been all day.
And as you can see, Carl Edwards able to close the gap in the corner, now down to 1 car length as he chases the leader off the turn. Now, he's been saying that the car's been a little bit tight in the center, but getting off, been real good. You can see him chasing now Matt Kenseth. The #1 word on the radio, though, patience. They want Carl to be cognizant of the big picture and not wear out his stuff before the end of the race. Still a lot of laps to go, Dave.
Kurt Busch stayed out under that last caution period. On the last stop before that, they had made a track bar adjustment, and his car has gone very, very tight right now. Kurt's come on the radio. I can't believe a turn on the track bar would make the car do that, but right now, it doesn't want to turn well for him in the corners as he tries to stay one of the chasers who is out of trouble in this race, Alan.
And next behind Kurt Busch is his younger brother Kyle on the racetrack. Been a solid top 10 car all day. They took just right side tires on their pit stop, hoping to gain track position, but that was kind of foiled by the guys who did not come down pit road on that last yellow. Kyle Busch running in 8th spot right now.
And Martin Truex Jr. right now, currently 9th. He started 5th. He's been complaining that his car has been bouncing in the rear. And they've been trying to figure out what exactly the problem is. They tried a wedge adjustment, air pressure adjustment, doesn't seem to be helping. So he's been battling that, but on the flip side, his pit crew has been unbelievable on their stops, keeping that car in the top 10 all day.
Jeff Gordon rolled off 27th and made a charge toward the top 10. Spent a little bit of time there this afternoon, but just hovering outside the top 10 at this point. Loose in, but tight in the center on off. The teams continue to do work on the DuPont Chevrolet, but have not perfected it just yet. Now,
Sometimes when you're not good, you need to be lucky, and that has been the story for Jeff Gordon today. He got a caution just before he was going to be lapped by the leader in lap 147. 50 laps later, he got lapped, then got the caution and got the free pass. Jeff Burton was as low as 40th. He is running in 15th spot right now,
Recall what happened to Jimmy Johnson, Alan. It was a hole in the right rear tire which caused him to pit under green on lap 190. That put him 2 laps down, returning to the race in 36th position. He's had a loose race car since then. They've gotten one of the laps back, but still trying to dig themselves out of a hole. As far as the 29 of Kevin Harvick, problems all day with tires as well. The first one, loose lug nuts on one of the tires. That caused him to have to pit for that vibration. And then, just recently, a hole in the right rear tire. That put him back in the pack and hopefully just trying to salvage a finish today out of the other guys who've had trouble, including Denny Hamlin, who has returned to the track now. Susie?
Well, you're up to speed on the top 12. Every lap, every point, so crucial as there is a reshuffling among the top 12. As we speak, the king of concrete, Carl Edwards, on top right now. Matt Kenseth led 215 laps last year but couldn't get it done. Will this year be different? It's the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup.
Welcome back to the Dodge Dealers 400 here at the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. Well, Monday Night Football on ESPN continues tomorrow night when Vince Young leads the Tennessee Titans into the Superdome. The face of New Orleans Saints, can Reggie Bush, Drew Brees, and the Saints offense somehow get back on track in the Big Easy? Monday Night Football on ESPN, 8:30 Eastern Time. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown. Our own Susie Culper will be there with Mike Tirico and the bunch down in the Big Easy for a big shootout on Monday night. Now let's listen in to our top 4 drivers in the chase on the racetrack.
It did help a little bit. We're just still a little too tight in the center. That's what slows us down. Right back to the gas. It's almost like we need more wedge out. We need the track bar down farther. You know, the track bar just to get us in. Pretty loose to start and still turning real good off the center to the bottom off the corner. Best it's been turning wise. Yeah, just come up, just scale of 1 to 10, we're like a 3 tight for some reason. I think for some reason it's starting to land on the stops harder. Like I can feel it drag on fresh tires up front, you know, because we're going faster, I think.
That's the top 4 drivers in the chase. Andy Petrie, what does that all mean?
It's hard for one guy to adjust 4 cars, but it sounded to me like Kyle Busch right there. It said it's hitting the stop hard, and that happens as these cars run longer and longer. It seems like it starts hitting that. It's a suspension stop. They call it a bump stop, and it makes the car really push and get tight in the middle of the corner. And that's what these guys, a lot of them are complaining about being tight in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, and Carl Edwards, he was tight in the center of the corner, but loose on entry. So he's going to drop that track bar down the right side to help him out there and make another change for the center. But he better be looking at his mirror right now because Mark Martin, he has been flying. He's in 2nd place right now. In the last 15 laps, he's had the fastest car on the track, and now he's right behind Carl now, running him down.
0-1 is Mark Martin. Now, Mark won the first 3 September races run at the 400-mile distance here back from 97, 98, and 99. We'll check the speeds as they come flashing by the line. Carl Edwards, a leader. Mark Martin. Edwards has not won here. And there is Edwards coming out of turn 4. We'll check his speed. And Mark Martin hustling toward him in 2nd spot.
So they're running pretty close. Carl's still the quickest car. But Martin has run Carl Edwards down from about a half a straightaway.
Yeah, but those speeds are going back and forth from lap to lap, guys. Edwards Mark had to pass a lap car, so we need to check the speeds again a little bit later on because Mark has been right there. Not losing Edwards at all, and sometimes a lot quicker.
Casey Mears, the 3rd fastest car of that group.
Battle for 8th position. Kyle Busch gets passed by the winner here back in June. That's Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 car.
And Mark Truex got a little loose getting off that corner, and Kyle Busch almost got into the back of him.
Kyle gave a little tap coming down the straightaway, and these bumpers on the car tomorrow's line up perfectly. So the front bumper is the same height as the rear bumper, and these guys can get away with just tapping each other and just give them a little shove forward.
That kind of contact with the old car would definitely send somebody spinning because it actually lifts the car up in the back.
Yeah, the car's not the car tomorrow. Will drive under the back of the car, like you said, Andy, sometimes under the fuel cell of the car and lift it right off the ground.
Seemed to me like it'd be kind of hard for these drivers to adjust week to week when you've got a different kind of car and the way these bumpers line up. You almost have to adjust your thinking a little bit.
Martin Truex Jr. grew up in Marietta, New Jersey. That's about 120 miles from here. So this is his closest track to his home. Basically, he calls it his home racetrack. And, of course, he won here in his very first NASCAR Nextel Cup victory. He got his first win here back in the spring. We asked him, what do you think about this high-banked one-mile oval in Dover, Delaware?
Well, if I had to, I'd have to pick Dover. You know, obviously the site of our first win, a track that I've had great success at. I've always enjoyed going to over the years. So really, really looking forward to that one. But there's a lot of tracks in the Chase that we seem to run well at, and last year it seemed like the last 10 races were our best of the year, so hopefully we can do that again.
Martin Truex obviously understands this is his favorite racetrack. He started 26th and won here back in June on his 58th career start. One of 4 first-time winners here in 2007.
Seems like you get a track that you really have like a favorite track, Rusty. I know Bristol had to be one of yours. Richmond, Martinsville, all those were great racetracks for you. It's kind of a feel-good to come back to these tracks.
Every time you got to go back to those tracks you really like, you just knew you felt so good going there. You felt like you could do something. If you're in a ditch, you get yourself out of that ditch. You know, my favorites were
99 cars slowing to come on the pit road with 113 laps to go. Bob Osborne.
This is a scheduled pit stop for Carl.
Down to Mike Massaro.
And Doc, you heard Carl's radio saying he's a little bit tight in the center. They're going to try to correct that with an air pressure adjustment, taking a half a pound out of the right front tire. A 4-tire change expected on the 99 Ford as they swing around to the left side. A complete service there. 4 tires and fuel for your leader, your former leader, Carl Edwards.
The only problem here is Mark Martin's got about 25 laps of fuel on these guys. Some of these guys, here comes Matt Kenseth. They didn't pit under that last caution.
Well, the question.
And that's right, Andy. They stayed out on that last caution, one of just a handful of guys who did. He said he needs more front grip right now, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment. 4 tires and fuel. Matt Kenseth just slipped back a few spots. As you saw, it came in at about 3rd position, so we'll see if this will get him to the front. Let's go to Dave.
Jamie, the wrench that goes in the back window of Kurt Busch's car will reverse that track bar adjustment they made earlier to try to get this car to turn a little bit better. Also make a little air pressure adjustment as well. 4 fresh tires. That'll be the best news for Kurt. Jamie, back to you.
And Ryan Newman making his way into his pit box. You see him there on the right side of your screen. He said his car's been great all day, which isn't a surprise for Ryan Newman, who's won, well, a third of his career wins have come at this very track. As you guys talked about, Doc, he's won 3 times here, and Ryan Newman down and away in 14.5.
Mark Martin might choose to pit with these guys since they have fresh tires and maybe not let them get out there, but he could choose to stay on the racetrack for 25 more laps.
Well, that's just what I was just thinking, Andy, because if he stays out there for a long time now, the lap times are probably, the other guys are driving away from him because he doesn't have fresh tires and they do. So what do? Do you stay out there and hope for a caution flag, or you just get down in and get sequenced with him?
Top 8 cars that last pitted on lap 230. Mark Martin, one of those. Let's check in with Alan.
Well, here's the box the crew chiefs are in up there, Andy and Rusty. For Kyle Busch, who pitted and can go until about lap 315 or 320. If the race stays green and he makes the stop then, he can make it to the finish on fuel if the race goes green. But right now, he's giving up incredible lap time to the guys like Matt Kenseth on fresh tires versus Kyle out there on his older tires. So do you take a chance and come in and hope the race goes green the rest of the way and take the lap time over the going the distance on fuel? That's a tough box for these crew chiefs to be in right now.
Well, Alan, that's why these crew chiefs make the big bucks, because they have a big decision to make right here. And that's the kind of decision that can win or lose a race for this team.
And that is an incredible decision. Right now, Matt Kenseth ran a 24.88 to Mark Martin's 26.08. That's over a second faster than Mark is. So he's really running him down on these new tires. That's a tough call. It really is. A lot of pressure there.
David Stremmy's car being pushed down pit road. You see the 26 car, Jamie McMurray making his pit stop. As they're actually going to push Stremmy's car back toward the garage area or back around behind the wall. Now, if you're in those seats and you're making the call, and they say, do you want fresh tires now, or do you want to hang out and maybe hope for a yellow flag and maybe put these guys a lap down?
Well, I'd have to say, if I was running up front, I'd hang out and wait for a yellow flag for just a little bit. If I lose about a half a lap on their other guys running me down, I can tolerate that, but I don't want to tolerate anymore. If I start getting that far behind, get me now pit road, get me 4 tires, this thing, let's go. That's about all I want to gamble right there.
So you're a gambler, but you're not a big gambler.
No, I'm not a big gambler. I'm a half gambler. That's it.
Mark Martin's lap that time was a 25.91 second lap, and Kenseth, who had just pitted, is running a 25.30, so he's given up about 0.6 of a second a lap on the racetrack.
And that'll stack up pretty quick on the track. You'll see these guys start to come around on Mark Martin. It's a tough decision to make, and Ryan Pemberton is a great crew chief, and he's leaving Mark out here, and he's going to seal his fate here. And if they get a caution, he's going to make him look real good.
You see Kurt Busch right now getting ready to drive underneath Mark Martin. Kurt's got 4 fresh tires. He just left pit road with a fresh pit stop. And you can see how his car stuck so good at the bottom of the racetrack on his new tires. That's how much new tires do for you.
We're being told Mark Martin will be at least 6 to 8 laps away from making the pit stop. So we're going to take a quick break and come back and catch Martin and the other guys as they come in for what could be their final stop of the day. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Back at Dover, Delaware, there have been 8 lead changes among 7 different leaders. Take a look at our forward lap leaders. Matt Kenseth wraps up the bonus point for leading the most laps today. Denny Hamlin has led 61. You see Carl Edwards has led 21. Kurt Busch, Mark Martin, our current leader. Timmy Johnson and Michael Waltrip has led a lap in the Toyota. Less than 100 laps to go. The 0-1 of Mark Martin still is yet to make that pit stop. Projected to come in here in the next couple of laps.
That's the way this race goes typically. It seems like it goes green late in the race. You get some, you get long stretches of green like we're having right here. And that's what these guys are banking on.
A moment ago, Dale Earnhardt Jr. did come on the pit road in the 8 car and made a pit stop. Now, most of these guys will still have to make one more stop, somewhere between 30 to 40 laps to go.
Looks like Mark Martin's team, though, may have a shot at making it on one more pit stop. This last stop they're going to make.
Well, the thing I'm amazed about, the fellow's been most trouble all day long, Jeff Burton. He's sitting there in 8th position. I mean, if this caution plate comes out right now or close to it, I mean, this guy's in great shape.
There are 4 chase drivers still on the lead lap, and one of them is Jeff Burton. How about that? I mean, 3 different times he was going to go a lap down. He ended up going all the way back to 40th place and a lap down, Allen. And boy, what a day Jeff Burton's had if he can hang on.
I think I talked earlier about, Doc, when you're not good, you need to be lucky. Well, again, this team hoping the strategy works out in their favor. If they get a caution now before they have to pit in the next 9 laps or so, then they're going to be one of only, 9, 10 cars on the lead lap. If they don't get a caution, they've given up all that speed to Matt Kenseth, and they probably will not be on the lead lap after the green flag pit stops.
That's just the chance you have to take, and you make the decision and go with it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Jeff Gordon going a lap down to Mark Martin, but he's going to come in. You heard the radio. They're going to come in and pit this time. 91 laps to go, and Andy Picker, you see Mark Martin waving that left hand.
Nice and easy. 38.
These guys are going to make this pit stop with about 90 laps to go. I don't believe they can make that all the way to the end.
Coming down 35 miles an hour, they may be going to roll the dice. Are they, Mike?
It looks like a 4-tire change is the call, Doc, as they go over the wall and go to work on the right side. They're going to try to free it up a little bit as they make a chassis adjustment. Team now swinging around to the left side. So not really a big gamble, but a 4-tire change in fuel for Mark Martin. They waited as long as they could, but just not long enough.
We'll see how this works out when he gets back on the racetrack and see how far behind these leaders like Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth he is.
Because those cars that pitted some 18, 20 laps ago are going to have to make one more stop.
Yeah, they're going to have to make a stop for sure, and it looks to me like Mark Martin will too. I don't think anybody can go 90 laps, and that's what he would have to go. Now, if we got some caution laps in there, maybe so. We don't want to say he can't make it, but under green, I don't think he can.
Greg Biffle in the 16 car, currently being shown as our leader. Greg's best finish of the year coming at the first Bristol race this year when he finished 5th. Tony Stewart now coming on the pit road and making his stop. Allen.
Tony has been trying so hard to get up to be in the first car 1 lap down, and every time he catches somebody and gets in position to do that, the leader laps another car and puts him that much farther away from getting the free pass and getting back into this thing. 4-tire change, air pressure adjustment on Tony Stewart. Jamie?
And Martin Truex is in, guys. He came in 2nd position. He started 5th today, and he's not complaining any longer about that rear end bouncing around, which he had that problem all day long.
Less than 90 laps to go as you see Truex come down at 35 miles an hour. Must seem like an eternity trying to get down that pit road. You want to speed, but you know you can't.
Well, NASCAR like to have the pit road speed be a little faster, but the pit road's so narrow and a little dangerous. That's the reason why.
Mike?
Clint Bowyer on pit road right now. He was told not too long ago just to ride it out, be calm, be patient, and let the car come to him. They're going to make a slight chassis adjustment and a 4-tire change on the Bowyer machine. A little bit tardy on the stop, but a good one, a very clean one. Alan?
Kyle Busch is in. This should be their last pit stop. Pending the check of the fuel mileage after they top the car off. A 4-tire change and some minor adjustments on this 5 car. They've had a solid day, not a spectacular one, and he's gone.
25. Hey guys, 25 car. Casey Mears is in right now. Great race car. Was loose most of the day. They got it right now. 4 tires, no change. Also, Greg Biffle is in the 16 car. He said they were crazy to stay out and lead a lap and go down so much on track position, but now they'll change 4 tires, try to free that car up as well for Greg Biffle. Also, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson in. He'll get a track bar adjustment. Laps down at this point, but this chaser trying to keep his car under control at the Monster Mile. They'll take on 4 tires, and they'll leave that first pit stall. Such an advantage if you're on the lead lap. Now just a nice ad. Mike?
Jeff Gordon radioed in a little while ago saying that they made the car a little bit too tight. They need to free that car up on pit road. He's now making his stop. 4-tire change expected for Jeff Gordon and a chassis adjustment. He's away.
31 car also on pit road. Jeff Burton a moment ago for his 4-tire change. That will leave, here comes the 29 car. Kevin Harvick, who's had 2 different issues with tires and lost 3 laps in the pits. Harvick coming down, being shown in 31st position. Dave?
And you can better believe that this crew will take the time to make sure that all 20 lug nuts are tight on the wheels of this 29 car. Here he comes into his pit stall. It's his marks perfectly. At this point, just trying to maintain the position and stay ahead of anybody else that's on the same lap with them. Hope they can race them toward the front and maybe be the lucky dog by the end of this race. But they're still deep in the hole at this point. 4-tire change for Harvick. Allen.
Reed Sorensen moved up to the lead by staying on the racetrack. Now he comes in to complete the cycle of pit stops. A 4-tire change. Been fighting front-end grip on this car, and he is gone.
Opting to leave Reed Sorensen out. Reed Sorensen actually ran 88 laps before he came in to make that pit stop and was able to lead a couple of laps. Cycling through with the pit stops, Matt Kenseth now back atop the running order. Behind him is the 99 of Carl Edwards and the 01 of Mark Martin, Ryan Newman, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the top 5.
I'm going to try to see just how much time and distance that Mark Martin lost by staying out on the racetrack as long as he did. Looks like he's lost about 8 seconds to leader Matt Kenseth at this point right now. So he's got some work to do. He's got fresher tires right now, so he can go and start moving and closing that gap a little bit. But that's what you give up when you stay on the racetrack.
Yeah, but Andy, that was worth the gamble. If that caution flag would have come out, Mark Martin was in really good shape. And now he's still not too bad off right now. So that was a good call by his crew chief to do that. Hey, change for the lead here. Edwards around Kenseth.
Carl Edwards made it look easy going underneath the 17 of Matt Kenseth. Remember, both of these guys will have to come back in and make a final pit stop somewhere between 30 and 45 laps to go.
Says he's a little loose, it sounds like, but yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting at the end of the race. There's going to be a lot of guys coming out pit road for just a little bit of a splash and go, they call it.
78 laps to go here for NASCAR racing at the Monster Mile. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Well past 3/4 of the way through 400 miles at Dover International Speedway. 12 lead changes, 7 cautions, crashes, a fight, and a drastic drop for some of the 12 chase drivers. Carl Edwards has never led the Cup point standings, but right now he's on top of Matt Kenseth.
I tell you, that consistency of Carl Edwards is paying off today thus far, but I tell you, we still have a lot of laps left. Don't count any of this stuff to be fact right now, Susie. We got a long way to go at this Dover Monster Mile.
A lot of laps left for everybody but Denny Hamlin, who's 89 back. Toughest day for him so far, Doc.
Thank you, Susie and Brad. Carl Edwards is leading both Series. He's leading the point standings in the NASCAR Nextel Cup and the NASCAR Busch Series. That's sort of like leading the American and the National League in baseball. Imagine one team doing that. That's how impressive this 99 car and the 60 car, by the way, the one he drives in the NASCAR Busch Series, has been for Roush Fenway Racing.
Man, these Roush guys have flat got something figured out. I was talking earlier in the show about their engineering department. They really put a lot of hope into that. Jack Roush has said, we're taking a whole entire engineering approach towards NASCAR Nextel Cup and Busch Series right now. And it's paying off. I mean, this 17 has been good all year long, but that 99 at all these concrete racetracks, and for that matter, Andy, everywhere we go is quick. Jamie?
Well, Rusty, Robbie Reiser, crew chief from Matt Kansas, was telling me earlier, he said, you know, because us and Carl Edwards have made the chase, the other three teams at Roush Fenway Racing are kind of experimenting with things, testing things out for us, for our cars in the chase and for our cars in 2008. So they're already using three teams to test, and it's open book policy, and there's an incident on the track, guys.
Trouble on the racetrack, Jamie. Caution being waved, or not yet. They have not thrown the caution flag or not waved the caution flag. We had some contact. The 11 car back on the racetrack and had some more contact. He slows abruptly. Denny Hamlin coming down pit road. Let's watch again what happened to him as he was trying to get on.
This is the toughest pit road on the circuit to get on, it seems like.
Well, it's you come off the banking onto a very flat pit road and you just lose it. And we saw there a couple years ago when Matt Kenseth hit the end of the barriers wide open and really had a hard crash. In fact, I believe he was leading the race when that happened. So this is a tough deal for Denny today, having a tough day.
Denny Hamlin being shown 90 laps down in 39th position after that contact with he and Kyle Petty, both on the racetrack and in the garage area.
Keep watching Carl Edwards take that car down in the corner. Looks like he's almost sliding the back end, getting into the corner, but he's able to control it.
That's what I was just getting ready to comment on, Andy. He gets in the corner, the car gets very light going at the corner. You see it kind of turning sideways, and then it lands and does something totally different.
He's using a lot of throttle coming off the corner. Almost 9,000 RPMs.
Well, this is a 1 mile racetrack we're racing on right now, about 161 miles per hour. And qualifying, they're probably about 170 something.
Not using a lot of brake right now either. You see he's using a lot of throttle. He's floating the car in the corner. Not using a lot of brake, a little bit.
It's like down to about 6,800 RPMs. Picks up the throttle, accelerates off the corner. He gets up and just approaches 9,000 RPM.
See Casey Mears up ahead of Carl, trying to stay on the lead lap and really pedaling his car.
Sixth place right now. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s got a good car, but had a solid run. Martin Truex right around him on the bottom side right there to take over the sixth place from Jr.
This swap-over move, you see how that momentum, using that high line, can give you that momentum down the straightaway.
That reminds me of some of the stuff they used to do at Garland, South Carolina, and still do a little bit.
Jr. goes back underneath him and take the spot away. Now we'll see if Martin Truex, these are teammates for at least 8 more races on this year.
They're having some fun swapping these top 10 spots around.
They really are. And sometimes you wonder, you thought that Junior kind of give Truex a break because he's raced for the points, and Junior's not. But it just goes to show how Junior wants to win, too.
9 cars currently on the lead lap. Carl Edwards is our leader. Matt Kenseth in second, the 2 chasers. Then comes Mark Martin. Mark Martin would become the first part-time driver ever to win a chase race. If he can somehow pull it off, he's a 4-time winner at Dover, Delaware. Carl Edwards is a 2-time winner in chase competition. And boy, no one has ever won both championships in the same year. He is a 6-time winner. 5 of those 6 wins have come on concrete racetracks. And folks, Carl Edwards leading right now on the concrete high banks at Dover, Delaware with just 60 laps to go.
This is the SportsCenter Minute powered by Vizio. I'm Stan Verrett. In Major League Baseball, the Cleveland Indians beat the Oakland A's 6-2 today. That gave Cleveland its first AL Central title in 6 years. They joined the Red Sox among teams who have already clinched in the American League. Meanwhile, in football, already the NFL's winningest quarterback, Brett Favre, tied Dan Marino for the career record for touchdown passes. He had 3 today and gave him 420 for his career and helped the Packers beat the Chargers 31-24 in Green Bay. Packers are 3-0. That's the SportsCenter Minute. I'm Stan Verrett.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to Brett Favre and those Green Bay Packers. 3-0. How about that for Favre and the Packers getting it done?
How about Brett Favre? He's not done yet, is he?
Far from it. And we are not done yet here at Dover, Delaware, although we have 6 cars, only 6 cars on the lead lap, because that guy right there, Carl Edwards, is just clicking them off one by one and putting them a lap down.
Now, him and Matt Kempis are just flying out there in the racetrack, and so is Mark Martin. But that last sequence of pit stops really got everything separated up here. But these guys are going to have to make one more pit stop. It's not done yet. And some of them might be able to make it.
Let's give you an update on the injured crew member, Art Harris, who was the gas man for the 55 car of Michael Waltrip. Now, earlier in the day, Harris was hit by a tire from behind that had been punted for the 44 car up in the air, hit him in the back of the head, but he was wearing a helmet. He was taken out of here for further evaluation. The good news, we have been told he has been treated and released, and that is great news for Art Harris, the gas man for the 55 car of Michael Waltrip.
Mark Martin has run these guys down. He was 9 seconds behind when they made their pit stop. He's down to 3 seconds behind now, Carl Edwards.
You know what, guys? Mark Martin can win this race. He's got a fast car. This goes to show the older guys can drive. Take that one, okay?
Just like Brett Favre, right?
Nope. Don't be getting any thoughts now.
Come on, man. I'm getting jukey up here. I think I can do it still.
I know you can still do it. Get a little 3-wide action starting here.
Battle for 8th position. 5 car of Kyle Busch, and that is the car. Of course, the car, not the number that Dale Earnhardt Jr. will drive in 2008.
Guys, these cars are running so slow in the center of the corners compared to the old cars that we used to race here. It's unreal. And if they get off just a little bit, the other fellows are so much faster than you. It's incredible. Okay. Look at Mark Martin now, closing in on a 17 of Matt Kenseth.
Here comes Mark Martin.
More on Mark. Let's go down to Mike Massaro.
Well, guys, Mark Martin's really been looking toward this race for quite some time. I spoke with him in Richmond, and there was a little bit of frustration, saying there was some growing pains because of the merger. With the merger, up until now, they've been working out of their own shop, still using Ginn equipment, but today, for the first time, they are using a common car with DEI. And Mark says that that's going to make a world of difference, because now, when they exchange information, it will be more applicable to what they're actually doing. Before today, they couldn't really do that because they weren't comparing apples to apples. Caution on the racetrack.
Thank you, Mike. Caution on the racetrack for debris, and the flag being waved there by Rick Monroe. Or I should say Rodney Wise waving the caution flag here for the 8th time today.
Kurt Busch is going to be the lucky dog in this situation.
Both Penske cars just skirted a bullet there. Newman was in trouble, and now Kurt Busch gets a lucky dog. Roger Penske's cars are back in the game right now.
6 cars on the lead lap. Mark Martin was on a tear. He was making the move. He had cut the deficit. He had been 8 seconds behind when he came out of his pit stop. And now he's being shown just a little over 4.5 seconds back with 45 laps to go. And now with this caution, they'll all bunch up. And now we'll see what's going to happen here in these final 45 laps.
Now the question I got, why is it that Ryan Newman is stuck behind the pace car right now?
He may be the lucky dog. I think maybe he had snuck his way around there and got caught by the pace car.
We're showing him on the lead lap still. Ryan Newman at the tail end. You would have thought the pace car would have picked up the leader, the 99 car, Carl Edwards. So we'll have to wait and see what NASCAR's got to say about this.
Pace car, NASCAR's hollering. Pit road is open now. Come on, come on.
Here they come. Here comes the 99. No, he pulls back up on the racetrack before he goes by the commitment cone.
And the red light is on down there. We heard his spotter say it was open.
But it is not open. So even though the spotter said it was, Carl looked over and saw the red light flashing. Apparently a bit of a conflict there. There is the light.
And the flag.
The flag says it's not open.
And we've got the light up here, and then you got a flagman also here waving the flag.
Now he is prepared to pick up the green flag and wave it, and the green light comes on, which will tell them that the pit road is indeed open, so they can come on this time.
Well, good heads-up driving on Carl Edwards. That could have really got him in trouble if he hit pit road while that thing was closed, but he caught it at the last minute, saw the light, darted right back up on the track.
Had a lot going on there, too, because they were trying to get the 12 car back behind the 99, and Carl was trying to figure that out on the radio, and then his spotter says pit road's open. So, pretty heads-up move. You see what Carl's looking at. He's looking at the pace car.
Red light is on.
Right here, you see, Carl saw that. There's a red light.
See the
red flag.
Commitment cone, he just gets by on the outside of that. Would have been a violation if he had passed that cone and turned back up on the racetrack.
And the confusion over Newman. Newman just got lapped as the caution flag was coming out.
Now here comes Carl Edwards down pit road and others, and let's go down the pit road and Mike Massaro.
Well, the last time Carl Edwards came down pit road, they had a pit stop in the range of 14 to 15 seconds. Bob Osborne told his team that was completely unacceptable. He'll try to pump them up this time down pit road. A 4-tire change and a chassis adjustment for Carl Edwards as they go to work on the left side of the car. Let's go to Jamie.
And that caution flag is exactly what Matt Kenseth was hoping and praying for. They got out of pit sequence. He apologized to his team, saying, I didn't realize this was going to come down to a fuel mileage race. He wants to free it up in the center. 4 tires. Matt Kenseth is off. Let's go to Dave.
Jamie, this crew we showed you before the race today has had smooth stops all day. Wedge adjustment for Greg Biffle to come back a little bit. They freed the car up. They want to bring it back just a bit to race to the end. 4-tire change.
Race off of pit road here under a caution for the 8th time. There's a look at Greg Biffle's number 16 coming back out. Matt Kenseth will gain a spot. Carl Edwards loses one. And it is a push for Mark Martin and Greg Biffle back in 3rd and 4th position. Folks, we're going to take a break, and here's the best news. When we come back, we are going to go commercial free for the final 40 laps of the checkered flag at Dover. So stay with us. With 40 laps to go here at Dover, Delaware, take a look at the chase for the Nextel Cup points. Matt Kenseth right now would be the points leader, having gained 6 spots. You see how it's adjusted. Jeff Gordon hanging in 2nd spot. Carl Edwards back and forth. He can get that lead and possibly lead both series. Let's listen in as we go full throttle on the restart.
Clear by 2 on Carl. Clear by 3. You want it. It's all yours. It's open. Yours. Good job, man. Be patient. Either on the corner. Go back. Go back. Go low right here. Go low. Looks good now. Looks good. Clear by 5. Clear by 5. Carl. Well, clear. Outside. Get outside. Clear. 5. Clear. Clear. Pull back.
They were 3 wide entering turn 3 with Dale Earnhardt Jr. The meet in that sandwich. Kurt Busch was there, and they all managed to get by without any contact.
Well, we thought right before the caution flag that Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman were in good shape. Newman got the lucky dog. Kurt Busch did not. So he's racing with Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to get it. And right now he passed him. A crazy move. 3 wide. Paid off for Busch so far.
Here comes Carl Edwards taking the lead.
Carl Edwards goes sailing beneath the 17 car. Remember, these are teammates for Roush Fenway Racing, and Edwards retakes the lead.
Something going on with the 17 car, Jamie?
Guys, Matt Kenseth just came over the radio, said we're blowing up. They said, guys, switch your battery, switch your battery. He said we're blowing up, but we have a crash on the track, guys.
Heavy contact with Tony Raines, the 96 car. Brings out the 9th caution flag, and boy, they've just taken part of the rear panel. The 49 of John Andretti also involved.
Just about the time you thought this race was starting to shape up, everything goes crazy again.
These cautions breed caution.
They do, and I don't believe it's over yet, guys. Now everybody's going to get aggressive and try to get some stuff done, but this is good for Kurt Busch. He's going to get that lap back right now. Now both Penske cars are back in the lead lap.
Caution number 9. Let's show you again. Riding along with Tony Raines. Here comes the 49 under him, and there's contact there.
Looks like the 49 car got just a little bit loose.
49, just put him in the wall.
Yeah, and he just got up into the side of the 96 car. All these other guys get caught up in it.
Second time in 2 days, Tony Raines has been somewhat of a victim. He was a victim in the NASCAR Busch race yesterday with contact there and had almost a head-on collision with the wall. Tempers flared. Here's the latest contact in the NASCAR Nextel Cup event today.
Guys, I can't remember a long time that there's only been 6 cars on the lead lap in the modern day era of NASCAR Nextel Cup racing. The car tomorrow has really changed a lot of things around. The grip level of the car, the way they handle, the way they stick is way off. And NASCAR is going to continue tuning on this car to make it race better.
It seems like the balance is not right. The aerodynamic balance is not right because everybody talks about the car pushing in the middle of the corner.
Everybody, and you're exactly right. And when they try to get the push, the slide in the front end out of it, the back end's coming around then. So they got a ways to go yet.
So you saw Tony Raines climbing out of his car. The safety crews are there at the 49 car for John Andretti. And very, very hard contact for John as he came across the front of the 96 and almost head on to the wall here as they're trying to be able to help get that car out and very carefully get to John and get him out of the race car.
Some big impacts, the 96 car and John Andretti. And back talking about the car tomorrow, there's one thing I do like what NASCAR does. They're going to make a change. If they got to adjust it, they'll do it. They're not afraid to do that. This is one thing that makes NASCAR racing so good. They're not afraid to change things.
36 laps to go. Carl Edwards had gone by the 17 car, and now the 17 will indeed come on the pit road. Jamie was getting ready to give us an update on what was happening with Matt Kenseth, and now he's coming down toward you. Jamie?
Well, Doc, Matt Kenseth said that he's running on 7 cylinders right now, and he's hot. He's about 250 degrees right now, so they were going back and forth. Should we come down and risk losing a lap? Well, they decided they were going to come in. They're going to pop that hood up. They're going to check it out, see what they have. Obviously, Chase Contender here. We saw him battling. He's been running up front the entire race. This could be a very critical moment for Matt Kenseth and the Chase standing. So they're going to see what they have, see if they can salvage something. You know, Robbie Reiser, his crew chief, reminded him there's only, 5 cars on the lead lap, so we need to stick it out. We need to see what we can do. Even if we're down on cylinders, we need to stay out and salvage as many points as possible. So not good right now the way this day is turning out for Matt Kenseth. They're looking at that smoke coming out as well. Matt Kenseth, they checked it out, and he's down and away. See if he can finish this race up, guys.
Yeah, back on lap 147 is when the alternator problems began with the battery there. And they have made it almost 250 laps. And now there is John Andretti, who's gotten out of the car and talking to the safety crew. Good to see John standing and talking to the crew there. They're going to help him get across once the traffic clears. Again, replays of what happened. There's the contact.
At the 49, just put him in the wall.
Let's check out our All-State Good Hands move of the race on behalf of the number 55. Watch Michael Waltrip somehow get his Toyota through this mess.
Say what you got. Say what you got. Come on through now. Come on. Cause she's out.
On behalf of Michael Waltrip, All-State will donate $1,000 to the Urban Youth Racing School. Because of this caution flag, we will take a commercial break and come back to Dover, Delaware. 34 laps to go. Here at Dover, Carl Edwards, a leader, Mark Martin, Greg Biffle, Martin Truex, and Matt Kenseth back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. ABC Premier Week starts tomorrow, but there's plenty of great entertainment tonight. Starting at 7 o'clock Eastern Time with a special 2-hour Extreme Makeover Home Edition. Then at 9 o'clock Eastern, get ready for a new season of Desperate Housewives with a brand new Housewives special, Secrets and Lies. Then a new Brothers and Sisters special follows at 10 o'clock Eastern. It's all coming up tonight on ABC. Back at Dover, Delaware, 32 laps to go. Let's check in with our in-race reporter, Carl Edwards, who also happens to be our leader.
Carl Edwards, Rusty Wallace with ESPN. You got us?
I'm clear, Rusty.
Well, buddy, I don't want to put any pressure on you, but you're leading the point standings right now, and you also got one of your best friends on the right behind you, Mark Martin. What's it feeling like, man?
You didn't have to tell me that, Rusty. But yeah, no, we're having a good time, man. Just proud of my whole Office Depot team, and we got a kid up in New York, David, who works with cerebral palsy kids at a school, and if we win this thing, I promise I'll give him my next trophy. So hopefully we get a trophy for him. But man, I'm just having a good time today. Guys came back from that stuck throttle deal pretty well. We worked on that. Just having a good time.
Well, Carl, Mark has been really flying. He's right behind you right now, running second place. He's having one of the best races I've seen him have all year long. You feeling any pressure from him?
Ever since he showed the world those abs and called me out on TV, man, I've been feeling pressure from Mark. But He's an awesome guy. He's probably the guy who's helped me the most in my career at this level. So it'll be exciting to get to race with him. And I'm just gonna go as hard as I can. If he gets me, then that's cool. But we're gonna make it hard on him.
I know you will, Carl. What are we gonna see in that next restart? How's that car in restarts?
It's all right. It's all right. So we'll see. I don't know who's gonna start next to me here, but you know, the trick will be just getting to the bottom pretty quick and not missing any gears. So I'll see what I can do.
All right, Carl, thanks for talking to us.
Hey, Bob Osborne, this is Andy Petrie. You got a copy?
Andy, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Man, you got this car on fire here. What have you been doing? Have you been adjusting on it any today?
We've been tweaking on it here and there. You know, I don't want to give any secrets away, but the real hot rod there is in the seat, I believe.
It's just me and you, Bob. You can tell me.
Yeah, you and me and about 80 million, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm just wondering how you fixed that throttle. I know that was a struggle for you guys early. What did you do to try to fix that?
We just put some WD-40 on the Heims. It looks like we had a Heim start to fail on us there. And, you know, we run Teflon on the Heim. They come Teflon coated, and it looks like one of them started to fail.
Yeah, Bob, I've had that happen to one of my cars before, too, and I know that's aggravating. I'm glad you got all that straightened out. You guys are sitting pretty, so good luck.
Appreciate it, Andy. Thanks a lot, man.
Cars are stopped on the front straightaway because of the hard impact and the debris and the fluids that involved. They're going to go over and try to blow off and clean up the racetrack over in the back straightaway. Carl Edwards, a leader. He has won twice in chase events, both coming in 2005. He won at Texas and at Atlanta. Trying to become the second winner in as many races in the 2007 chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. 30 laps to go. Back hopefully with the restart here at Dover in just a moment.
Under red at Dover International Speedway, 30 laps to go. Big point shake-up. All but Kyle Busch changed points at some point. Kevin Harvick, the 29, really struggling with those tires.
Had a tough time, had a loose wheel, came in, got it changed, but once again, the bugaboos after Kevin Harvick struggling early.
Jimmy Johnson came in leading the points, tied with Jeff Gordon. Flat tire.
Flat tire, you see him lose control, go up, slide towards the wall. Once again, just one of those unfortunate incidents.
You see him hit the pits, and Denny Hamlin probably took the hardest hit of the day. Hamlin gets into the back of Kyle Petty, and this had Kyle Petty fuming.
Both of these guys were running pretty well. Kyle Petty's running for trying to stay in the top 35 points, and Denny in the chase. And Kyle not very happy with Denny Hamlin at this point. Get down in the garage area, have some words.
Yeah, the two getting into it in the garage, and you know, the pressure is on both of these guys.
Tempers flaring, pressure's on. Denny was not feeling well this weekend, had a great run in the Busch car. Jumped in and didn't do too well in the Busch car.
Then he finds himself 92 laps down, and Matt Kenseth, well, he dominated a good portion of the day, but even his car wasn't immune from problems.
Matt Kenseth led 191 laps today, and we think he's down on a cylinder. But we're going to go down to the Dish Tech Center with our crew chief, Tim Brewer, and see if we can get some more information. Tim?
Thanks, Brad. Hey, when you're missing a cylinder up and it's not firing, you can check the temperature of the tube, and it's going to tell you, or you can go the old school way. You simply touch the crayon of this cylinder. If it melts, that one's working. This one melts, it works. This one melts, it works. You put it over here and it doesn't melt, that's the dead puppy in this litter. Brad?
All right, Tim, thanks a lot. Let's take this thing back upstairs to you, Doc.
Thank you very much, Brad, Susie, and Tim. I always knew that Tim liked to have his crayons close by, so great explanation of how you can determine if there is a cylinder problem. Take a look at the point standings. 30 laps to go. Carl Edwards, the leader of the NASCAR Busch Series and Nextel Cup points, both series, with 30 laps left. Back at the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware, the cars are rolling. We are getting set to go green once again. Let's find out exactly what's going on with Matt Kenseth. Here's Jamie Little.
Well, a while ago, Robbie Reiser said he wasn't as worried as we were, but right now you guys are in a different situation. Robbie, what can you do to get you guys to finish this race and salvage some points for the chase?
Well, it looks like we dropped the valve, and I don't really know. You know, we're just going to have to ride it out and see if it'll last. It probably won't. Most times it don't, but we'll just do the best we can. Had a great car here today. I mean, we've come a long ways with this COT, and you know, the guys back at the shop and all the people that work at Roush Racing should be real proud of what they've accomplished here with our COTs this weekend. So, you know, I'm excited about that. I just feel bad that this had to happen.
Nothing they can do right now. Their hands are tied, Doc.
Thank you, Jamie. Talk about great talent on display. Monday Night Football on ESPN continues tomorrow, and Vince Young leads the Tennessee Titans into the Superdome to face the New Orleans Saints. Can Reggie Bush, Drew Brees, and the Saints offense somehow get back on track in the Big Easy? Monday Night Football on ESPN at 8:30 Eastern Time. Coverage begins at 7 o'clock with Monday Night Countdown. We are counting down here to the checkered flag in race number 2 of 10 in the NASCAR Nextel Cup chase for the championship. Matt Kenseth will be awarded the bonus points, the 10 bonus points for leading the most laps. He led 4 times for 191 laps today. Carl Edwards has led 3 times for 67 laps. 28 laps to go, guys. Who do you think?
It's going to be a shootout, and I can't wait to see it. I'm on the edge of my seat right here.
Yeah, Mark Martin's looking awful good, but Edwards is strong. I realize that, but Mark is hungry, man. He wants it bad.
Carl Edwards has never won at Dover, Delaware in a NASCAR Nextel Cup car. The guy behind him, Mark Martin, a 4-time winner. They're going to shoot it out here in the final 27 laps as we go back to green.
Edwards gets a great jump into one.
And that's really key. With 28 laps to go, he needs to get that clean air and get out of there. Mark Martin's hung at the back right now behind Kyle Busch.
Had a little contact with Kyle Busch.
Going out the back here now. Inside. Just stay up there. Got a bunch of cars that come by. Just hold it down up there. Then they'll run up there.
That will indeed bring out the caution flag. And Robbie Reiser, you heard what he said to Jamie. He said, you know, we just got to hope that everything works out, and it didn't at all.
Well, this thing absolutely dropped the valve right now in the engine. Robbie Reiser called it right. He said they generally don't last, but sometimes they do. It broke a valve and went down through the piston evidently, and that is a catastrophic failure right there.
That'll do it for him.
Jack Roush walking up pit road. He had the car that was absolutely one of the strongest, not the strongest car here today. Robbie Reiser and the crew did a great job of dialing that car in for Matt Kenseth by the fact that he led 191 laps.
Those are heartbreakers for the team because they had such a great car. Looked like they were really sitting in a good position to win the race. There's nothing you can do.
That is the first engine of 2007 for the 17 car. What a time to have it happen after you dominated today here in race number 2 of the chase.
Yeah, this Roush Yates engine department is very strong, and you very seldom see them having a problem, but you know, sometimes it happens, and it happened today.
It's a tough racetrack on engines too.
Kyle Busch coming back down pit road for another stop. Alan?
Well, this is what Kyle Busch needed. He gets the free pass this time. Now, he bounced off the wall a little while ago in the race, so they're going to do some work on the right side fenders of the car. You see around the right rear there and the right front, trying to get those fenders clear of the tire, help the aerodynamics if they can. They're going to take their time and do this because now they're one of only 6 cars on the lead lap, and they're going to have to start at the back of that lead lap line anyway. So they'll take their time, make the repairs, get some fresh tires on this car, and see if they can rock it to the front and maybe steal a few points away here in these final laps.
Alan, there are only 4 chase cars on the lead lap, and this would be one of them when we get back up and he's able to come around. Carl Edwards, our leader. Martin Truex back in 4th place. Kurt Busch, his brother, the older brother, back in 6th in the 2 car as they continue to work now on the damage on the side of the 5 car. The 17 car making it back toward the garage. Dave?
And Doc, Matt has exited the 17 with a smile. That can only be because you had such a great race car, but Matt, in the end, didn't have the motor to last the day.
Yeah, I mean, some things just can't do much about, so I don't have a bad word to say about Roush Yates engines. They've won more races for me than they can ever lose, so they do a great job. They have a lot more power than we've had lately, and we're real competitive, so I think this is the first one I've blown up in probably 2 years, so I can't talk bad about that, but my team did a great job, and we had a good handling car finally.
I was going to say, that seems to be the issue that you guys got a handle on today.
Yeah, I mean, usually we run so terrible and we finish in these cars. Now we got running good and we didn't finish, so we'll just go try again next week.
All right, Matt Kenseth out for the day, but had a great race car that handled very well in these high banks. Let's go to Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Dave. What we're going to look at here, folks, is a blown engine on the upper side. It's valve. I mean, it's nothing you can do. You feel so sorry for Robbie Reiser and those guys because they had a car today. But what happened? It dropped the valve spring right here, broke it in two. What that's going to do is drop the valve down. Now, folks, this thing's turning like 9,000 RPM, 9,200. That valve is opening and closing 150 times per second. So it's hard to believe, you know. But there again, on the restart, he probably wound it up, popped the head off the valve, went down, knocked a hole in the piston. Total devastation.
Tim, it has been 31 months. February of 2005. That's the last time that 17 car had an engine failure, and that's why that Matt Kenseth can climb into that car and smile and tell you that those Roush Yates engines have won him many more races, and for the problems they've given him, they have been very reliable.
I saw you digging for that little stat. You had to dig pretty far to get that one.
It's been a while. That was deep in the book.
Jared, were you trying to tell us that he was due for bad luck or what?
I'll tell you what, he had a great run there, leading the most laps, and he will get the 10 bonus points. More on the 0-1 of Mark Martin with Mike Massaro.
Well, you know, Doc, believe it or not, because Mark Martin is a part-time driver, and I use that term very loosely, he's only been in a Car of Tomorrow race 5 times. So he's a little bit behind the learning curve, but believe me, he's a pretty good student, and he may pay attention when he's actually in the race. Here's what he said he learned in Richmond.
We can do it today. We only ran a couple of laps. At Richmond, you know, we didn't run very good after we didn't gas it. I don't know. I'm going to give it all I got here. I can't win with with that set, but I'm not saying we got to pit. If the guys behind me look like they're coming, I think we should come.
Before the race, I asked Ryan Pemberton, Mark's crew chief, what he thought his strength was today, and he didn't hesitate and said, Mark Martin. We can see why, guys.
Mark Martin making his 43rd start at Dover, Delaware. We told you he is a 4-time winner here. His last win coming in the spring of 2004.
He is a secret weapon for any race team. That guy gets up on that wheel, and I mean, he drives hard.
Well, the 99 got a good restart last time, and Mark saw that. He's probably not going to let that happen again. He got racing some lap cars, Mark did, but he might be able to clear the 8 car at Dale Jr. and get right on the bumper of the 99 going into 1. He might have a shot.
Pace car pulls away. Fans over 130,000 strong on their feet to watch the final 22 laps of a shootout at the Monster Mile. Earnhardt Jr. and Mears on the bottom. They are a lap down.
Dale Jr. is trying to get that lap back, but he's going for the lucky dog himself. Dale Jr. is, but he's letting Mark Martin go. And Mark's trying to run down the 99 car, Carl Edwards.
These guys are teammates, DEI cars, 0, 1, and 8 both. At least for 8 more races.
But the 8 car Dale Jr. is going to have to lay off the rear bumper and not get him loose, because Mark can't stand that.
Look at this gaggle of cars here.
2 teammates back on the lead lap now. The 2 car, Kurt Busch, and 12 of Ryan Newman.
That is for position. Newman going by to take the 4th spot. Kurt Busch 5th. Truex is 6th.
A lot of these folks feel like they just had a second life here, getting these lucky dogs, getting 4 tires.
7 car Robbie Gordon up across the racetrack. No caution flag. We stay green.
Now the caution comes out.
Yellow will finally come out. They were concerned. Spotters all around the racetrack. Spotters all around the racetrack are in contact with the NASCAR tower. If they think there may be debris, they will put out the caution. And that will be a break for the 5 car. And some of these that can bunch up behind the leader. There is Kyle Busch. You heard the comment a moment ago.
He'll get to catch up now with these lead lap cars. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will get the lucky dog here. So they'll put 8 cars on the lead lap.
I don't know what it is. Yesterday, all these cautions. Today, again. Let's take a look at this replay. Getting down into turn. Looks like turn 1. Now, Robbie just gets loose going at the corner. Just doesn't get touched by the 48. Just loses his arrow loose.
Real close there. Looked like there was almost contact. Real hard to tell.
Well, if there was, it wasn't much.
No.
Robbie just loses it.
Sometimes you think you get hit on those situations, don't you?
Well, you want to say you got hit when you spin a car out.
You need an excuse, right?
You want to say it wasn't my fault, man. I didn't lose it. I'm a good race car driver. That couldn't have happened.
Robbie Gordon being shown in 27th position, 3 laps back. Here comes the 8 car onto pit road. He is the first car a lap down, and the 1 car Martin Truex, who was on the lead lap, being shown in 6th position.
Well, there's nothing wrong with Martin Truex coming down for 4 tires. Andy, I got to believe that's the right thing to do for him.
I think so too, because there's only just 5 or 7 cars, 8 cars down the lead lap with Junior.
Jamie?
Martin Truex Jr. said he's so loose, he said, tighten this thing up, please. I want 4 tires and no gas for Martin Truex Jr. Came in 6th position, guys. They're hoping for another good stop like they've had all day long. Let's go down to Allen.
Well, even though Kyle Busch was 7th in the running order, because he was the free pass winner, he had to restart tail end of the longest line that last caution. He was actually way back 22nd in line on the racetrack. This caution, a huge break for him. They're going to put on fresh tires, make an adjustment, and get up there with those other 6 lead lap cars and race with them.
And I'm going to tell him there's 18 laps to go, and I gave you 4 brand new tires to get the good out of them right here. Get all they got.
That's right. He's in the best shape right now. He doesn't have the track position, but he's got. You heard he didn't take fuel on, so that car's a little bit lighter. It's got 4 fresh tires on it.
Got plenty of fuel to get to the end.
And I'm talking about Martin Truex now. He's in good shape also. Truex did the right thing by coming down pit road and getting those 4 sticker tires.
And speaking of getting 4 tires, you see the 8 car coming by. He gets the free pass. He will get back on the lead lap now with 4 tires as well. So you got the 8 with 4 fresh tires, the 5 and the 1. So all 3 of those cars back there are on the lead lap with 4 fresh tires. And
they were fresh. He's going to have a hard lap on him right here.
Yeah, he's running a qualifying lap trying to get. You think he's anxious to get around there or what?
Guys, we saw all these problems yesterday in the Busch Series race with all these crashes. Andy, where it's happening again today, I don't know what is happening here at Dover. I don't know if it's the tire or the grip level, or maybe it's just a full moon. I don't know what it is.
I think it's the intensity level building here at the end of the race.
Folks, you can click your heels 3 times because next week we head to Kansas Speedway, Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2. It's a NASCAR Busch Series, which has had 6 different winners at the last 6 Kansas races. Then on Sunday, it is stop number 3 of 10 in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Championship. And by the way, folks, it's Clint Bowyer's hometown, but he's up against 2-time Kansas winner Jeff Gordon, who won in 2001 and 2002. Gordon also the only driver to win Kansas and the championship in the same year back in 2001. Coverage at 1 o'clock Eastern time on ABC. And by the way, Mark Martin's last victory, October 2005 at Kansas Speedway, 61 races to go. He has 35 career wins. And the last time he won, well, the anniversary coming up in Kansas next week. Let's go green flag racing for 17 more laps here. Make it 16 laps at the Monster Mile.
Mark Martin seeing if he can change that stat.
And this time he clears the lap car, Casey Mears. And he's zeroing in on the back of the 99 of Carl Edwards. And Edwards just so fast in these restarts, guys.
This is the best shot Mark Martin's had. He doesn't have anybody on his rear bumper to loosen him up.
Got that clean air, and that's downforce, and that's speed.
Carl Edwards, the king of the concrete, and behind him, one of the all-time best at Dover. Mark Martin up on that steering wheel, trying to reel in Edwards. Whoa, off the wall, the 2-car burst. Busch, and his teammate comes across.
Oh, man, that was 2 for 1. Both Penske cars taken out in that one. A melee.
Jimmy Johnson also gets tagged, the reigning series champion. Jeff Green, the 66 cars in it. J.J. Yaley.
Something broke on the car, man. It shot straight into the fence.
That's Dover's version of the big one right there.
Oh, look at Martin Truex. He had a great shot to have a good top 5 today. Comes to an end.
Jimmy Johnson's got some damage.
Jimmy Johnson, but the car tomorrow is so tough. Andy, it looks like they can fix the 48 car and get it back out there. But these 2 cars, another story.
Heavy damage on Kurt Busch. You saw his car just get sideways and go right up into the wall. Coming out of turn 4, here's the 9 car of Casey Kane coming down pit road.
There's just nowhere to go at this racetrack when there's trouble in front of you.
Bobby Labonte, former winner here. Red flag being displayed. They will stop the cars over in turn 2. Let's show you what happened here a moment ago. Now watch the 2 car left side of your screen up off the wall.
Looks like
he had a flat tire or something. He had something broke or a flat tire.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if the tire was flat, Andy, or if he just got up so high out of the groove and the car wouldn't turn. He got up in it again. I mean, only Kurt would know. But boy, when he hit that wall, bounced across, it just really took out everybody.
66 Jeff Green, Casey Kane. There's the 18 car again from high above. Watch the contact there. Newman goes up down and gets the inside wall. Kane has nowhere to go. Right in front of him is the 2 car. The 5 car of Kyle Busch bouncing off a couple.
Looks like Tony Stewart just avoids these guys. I think he got a little bit of contact, maybe some damage.
Jeff Green onboard camera.
Check up. Come on the bottom here. Come on, right where you're at. Come on, right.
And you just can't see with all that smoke. Jeff did the best job he could, but just cleared 3 or 4 of them, and just about the time the smoke cleared, he was into it.
Clint Bowyer on board.
Come on, everybody, come down low. Straight through. Come on, baby. There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
And now that's the way to do it right there. He just saw that one coming at him. He stabbed that throttle and sped back up and barely missed him.
Different angle. This crash. Kurt Busch over. There's Newman's car coming across. A ricochet. Truex in it. Casey Kane in it. Jimmy Johnson with contact. Jeff Green. The 10 of Riggs. 41 of Riggs Sorensen. On board with Casey Kane. He's going to have Kurt Busch come right across in front of it. There. Boom.
Hello.
You've raced all day long. You've cleared all the wrecks, and with 14 to go, you're in it. That's a heartbreaker.
Casey Kane trying to thread the needle, had nowhere to go because Kurt Busch's car just abruptly slid right across in front of him, and Casey had cars to his outside. What a mess here with 14 laps to go.
Kurt Busch had to lose a right front tire or something like that because, Andy, he was in the groove. That last replay just showed us that he did not get up in the dirty portion of the racetrack, just lost the car and shot straight up with something failing in the right front corner of that car.
More than likely a tire. We've got a lot of debris on the racetrack from some of these other incidents. More than likely caught a puncture in that right front. Didn't feel it till we got going green.
And there's been so many restarts here. You just got to believe that a lot of rubber buildup, a lot of dirt getting on the tires causing that.
There's the list of drivers involved in the crash. You see it has involved at least 11 different cars that have had significant damage, maybe some others that we're still checking on to see if some of them did get some damage as they went by, like the 5 of Kyle Busch, and how bad's the damage on Jimmy Johnson's car and others. Well, that Dodge of Kurt Busch heavily used up under a red flag here at Dover, Delaware. Caution number 12, the big one at Dover. Heavy contact, a dozen cars involved. Back in just a moment.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. We'll give you an edge. Sprint, featuring NASCAR Nextel Cup Series updates at Sprint Speed. And the Ford F-150, built Ford tough.
Back at Dover International Speedway, a record 12 caution flags. We have now set a record for 400-mile races here at Dover. And, of course, if the race were to end right now, all 12 positions in the chase for the Nextel Cup in terms of points would change place here at Dover. This hard crash, let's check in, I think, where Dave is caught up with one of the drivers involved.
Yeah, Jerry, that 12th caution unfortunately involved the 12 car. Ryan, what did you see?
I believe something happened with the 2 cars right front tire. Either popped the tire or did something and got up and glanced off the wall, and I had really no place to go. In hindsight, I would have just hit him and knocked him out of the way and crashed myself in the 2 instead of blocking up the whole racetrack, but I tried to miss him, spun the car, and unfortunate. A great run going for the Altel Dodge. Great rebound for the entire weekend to come back and run in the top 5 the way we did, but just unfortunate. Look forward to the rest of the races.
I mean, talk about that. You were pretty much in the top 10 most of the day, Ryan.
Yeah, we drove up and we had to adjust on the car a lot, which was good calls by Michael and the crew, but just wrong place, wrong time there at the end. Just we were trying to do the right thing, and we got 3 wide there. The 2 car was inside of me, and the 1 car was on the outside, and I kind of let the 2 car go, and in hindsight, I wish I wouldn't, but in a roundabout way, it ended our day, and it was a good run regardless.
Now, best news, of course, is that Ryan walked out of the car. The car is destroyed, though, front end mangled in the 12 car, Jerry.
Again, a 12-car accident. 12 cars, you see the damage on the 12 car there. 12 different cars involved, some heavily damaged, others having a minimal damage. Some of those cars that are damaged are still parked on the racetrack over there in turn 2. We saw some fluid out from beneath the 1 car of Martin Truex. You wonder, we saw the 5 car of Kyle Busch maybe have some contact, and the 48. There's the 1 car. See the damage on the front of the Truex car. You got to wonder how badly that car is damaged. We are under a red flag, and of course they will not know until they can crank it up and come back around. Now, while they are stopped, let's visit with our in-race reporter, who happens to be our leader, Carl Edwards.
Carl Edwards, Rusty up on ESPN. You got us, buddy?
F4, Rusty, we're just trying to decide if we're going to stop for tires or not.
Well, that's one of the questions that got Kurt Busch is picking up a lot of debris and blew a tire with all the debris on the racetrack, and he got in the wall. I mean, with all these cautions, are you really looking hard for that debris out there? You got to be, I guess.
Yeah, I'm looking as hard as I can. What would you do? Take tires or not?
No, buddy, I wouldn't take tires at all. If you haven't run over anything, I wouldn't take the tires. That's my advice, but obviously I don't drive any longer. That's Mr. Osborne's decision now, but that does seem to be a problem with all the debris and all the cautions.
Yeah, I guess so, but I think this thing's fast enough. I don't think I've run anything over. I got faith in Goodyear, and hopefully I've been living right, and we'll be okay, you know?
Carl, you've had so many restarts right now. You concerned about the restarts? Mark's got some really good ones on you that last couple times there.
He has been doing a pretty good job. You know, obviously I'm concerned, you know, but once we get going, it seems like we're real fast. So what we'll do is we'll just watch and see if all these guys pull off for tires, and then we'll think if we might do it, we might not. But I think our car's good enough even if they took tires. So we'll see what happens.
All right, buddy. Thanks for talking to us today. 14 laps to go. Wish you luck.
Thanks, Rusty.
Bob Osborne has done a great job with Carl Edwards today, made the calls, and I guess a lot of those discussions take place as whether you put tires on or not. Now, another one of the drivers involved who was having a really good run today, Jeff Green, standing by with Alan Bestwick.
And he has walked from the Unionfield Care Center and told me already that he's okay. Your car just came by here. It doesn't look so good. What'd you see?
Just a lot of smoke, you know. Anytime, I guess on both sides it's the same way. It just always all goes to bottom, and we were surrounded by cars. Just probably the worst time for it to happen. On a restart, 10, 15 laps to go, everybody's anxious, and just hate it for my Comcast guys. My Comcast Chevrolet was really, really, really good. And we were just working on the top 10, you know. We needed that for the last month. Hadn't been very good, so I was proud of what we did today, and still proud of what we did today. We just don't have anything to show for it.
So many crashes late in the race. Do you feel the intensity pick up inside the car? Has something changed out there as the laps are running out?
Well, I mean, it always does at the end of the race. You know, people trying to get that extra spot, and you've got several races out there. You don't just have the race for the win. You have races for a lap down, races for 2 laps down, races for the championship. So you have to be careful on that aspect. But you know, one of the championship guys got us in trouble there. So, not, you know, I'm sure if he had to do over, he'd do something different, and not blaming him for that, but just tore up a lot of cars.
All right, Jeff, thanks for the time. Jamie?
And now I'm joined by Bono. He is the crew chief for Martin Truex Jr. We saw the different camera angles you guys obviously crunched up. What can you guys do from this point on to salvage these last points and finish this race up?
Well, it'd be nice to say we could stay on the lead lap. It's going to be a pretty tough feat to do. Definitely have a hole in the radiator, lower hose, something's leaking water. So we got a radiator here. We got a cool down unit where you can try to get some more water in it, and maybe finish the last 14 laps and not blow up. So you know, they just got to assess the damage when we get it in here.
I know you guys are trying to figure out what's wrong. You have a backup radiator here. What are you allowed to do in this short amount of time on pit road?
Well, we have a little opening here, so we can pretty much pull into this opening and do anything we need, but right now we're just going to see what we have to do when it gets in here.
All right, well, they just refired, so Martin Truex Jr. will be making his way down pit road for some repairs. Doc?
Thank you, Jamie, and they are getting set to make the repairs on pit road in that 1 car that was so good here back in the spring, where Martin Truex picked up his very first career Nextel Cup victory. Well, you've waited all summer long, and the housewives are back. And one thing's for sure, it's a hell of a day in the neighborhood. You know what? Terry Hatcher, Felicity Huffman, Eva Longoria, Marcia Cross, and Nicolette Sheridan all-star in the Desperate Housewives season premiere. That's coming up next Sunday at 9 o'clock Eastern time. One of my favorite shows. We love sitting home when we get home at night after a NASCAR race and tuning in to Desperate Housewives.
Yeah, I'm glad to see a new season coming up. I like that show, too.
Well, that is a heck of a day in the neighborhood over that place, that's for sure.
Okay, pit road's open now. When they come around, it'll be a quickie yellow. So all the cars can pit, even the lap down cars. So we're going to watch for Mark Martin and those guys behind Carl to see if they're going to duck on pit road. I know Carl's got one eye peeled in that mirror.
What does Mark Martin do? Does he stay out? Does he come in? How about Greg Biffle, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex? We know he's got to come on for repairs. And looks like the 99 and the 01 will stay out. Biffle, the third place car, the first among the cars up front to make an entrance on the pit road. Here comes the 5 car of Kyle Busch to you, Alan Bestwick.
Yeah, no question they were going to pit. Kyle got hit a couple times in that wreck, but did not have any significant contact or damage. So he is going to take 4 tires here, and they're going to look and see if they can repair any damage that might need to be repaired. And that's what's going on there with the 5 car, and they haven't really lost a whole lot. Dave?
Alan, one of the most important adjustments for Greg Biffle may be the piece of tape that car chief Will Smith just put on the left front brake duct. Now he's putting some on the right front. They've been running cool enough on the brakes where they can put that tape on, get more downforce, help that 16-car turn. Oh, the 4 fresh tires might help too. Greg Biffle is a contender, Jamie.
And Martin Truex Jr., we just talked to his crew chief. They're checking out the damage right now to see if they can get away without repairing or replacing that radiator. They're checking their water temperatures right now. They're trying to lift that hood up. As you can see, tons of damage. It's got it locked in there. Time is of the essence right now, Doc. The chasers and the race today. Unbelievable. Martin Truex Jr. trying to salvage these last few laps here.
It's going to be real tough for these guys to get a radiator in the car because they have so much damage. So if they can just get a little bit of water, they only have a few laps to run here, 13 laps. Going to try to get this hood off the car.
We're good. Hurry up, hurry.
If they go and try to change the radiator, I'm afraid they won't get it in there in enough time to really save any laps. This is a good move. If they can get that tire clearance, that sheet metal.
And I'll tell you what, with Greg Biffle having 4 new tires, Earnhardt Jr. is up in the 3rd position right now. This is going to be a shootout to the end right there.
Let's check in down in the garage area where Alan is caught up with Kurt Busch,
who has just walked from the medical center. First, Kurt, you okay? That looked like a hard hit. Are you okay?
Yeah, everything's good. You know, I don't know what happened to it. Something broke on the car, and whether it was suspension or the tire went down, man, it just shot straight in the turn 2 fence. And after restart with all those cars behind you, man, I feel sorry for everybody that got collected. A lot of crew guys put a lot of hard hours into building these things, and they have to get recertified after you tear apart some sheet metal, and so a lot of hard work has to be done.
Obviously, I need to ask you the championship thought question at this point.
A lot of hard work needs to be done.
Thank you, Kurt.
What Kurt's talking about, the cars have to be certified by NASCAR. This new car tomorrow, they send them down to the tech center or the NASCAR tech center where they certify them, they inspect them, and then put a certification stamp on these cars. So all these cars have to be recertified after a hard wreck like that.
Top of your screen shows you the running orders it comes across, and below that is the chase ticker. It'll show you exactly where your favorite drivers are among the 12 that are in the chase and where they stand. See, Denny Hamlin is in 12th position. Green flag waves, just 11 laps to go here to the checkered flag. Can Carl Edwards hang on? Can the 0-1 of Mark Martin somehow catch his former teammate and get win number 5 at Dover?
Carl gets another great restart on Mark Martin.
But can the 4 fresh tires of Greg Biffle win him the race? He's going around the outside of Dale Jr. right now. He's got the best tires in the field, and he is probably going to run down those 2 leaders.
So he's going to have about 10 laps to do it here.
Biffle's best finish, a 5th at Bristol on the short track, concrete short track, I might add, early in the year.
An 8-car Dale Jr., he's got 4 fresh tires also, but Biffle just overhauled him on the outside that time, and he is catching Mark Martin right now, guys. 10 laps to go.
Earnhardt Jr., you see the winless streak there, his last win in Richmond back in the spring of '06.
I'm impressed with the lap times that Carl Edwards is laying down right now. 23:77 last lap.
You see the wing plate on the left side of the 5-car. It's coming loose.
It might hang in there. He's got a little piece of aluminum strip right there holding on.
Kyle Busch being shown in 5th position. You saw him running up on the 20 car of Tony Stewart. Caution. Debris coming off a couple of these cars on the racetrack, and that's bringing out the caution once again here now for the 13th time.
Martin Truex got so much right front damage. It's just throwing stuff all over the place off that right front corner.
It looks like that fender rubbed a hole in the tire, and then the tire exploded and blew the fender off.
Let's take a look at the debris here.
He's already having a problem here with that tire. You see some of the debris coming off the car.
And that's a metal up there, Andy. If you run over that, that's going to blow a tire out. Good call for NASCAR catching that, because that could really be big time when you hit stuff like that in the track. Look like a fender brace or something.
Debris all over the racetrack. Now, 9 of the 12 drivers in the chase have had troubles today.
Looks like nobody wants to take advantage of this except maybe Carl Edwards.
I've never seen so much carnage in my entire life. These cars are tore to pieces.
Carl Edwards, who, if he could hold on, not only would get his first win at Dover, he would get his 3rd career win as in a chase race. And by the way, he would take over and become the points leader in not only the NASCAR Busch Series, but the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series.
Carl Edwards just got to be thinking right now, come on, guys, quit messing up, quit crashing. No more cautions. He just can't get his rhythm, and that's what he needs right now. He wants to get clear so he can win this thing.
Let me tell you how fast and how hard he's driving. That last lap, that fast lap he ran, that 23.70, would have qualified him in the top 20 in qualifying.
That is fast.
That's fast.
And that's called excited.
That's going to be hard to beat.
That's called knowing that Greg Biffle's got 4 sticker tires and you don't, and I got to get out of Dodge real quick or else he's going to catch us.
That's called talent. That's incredible effort and talent on Carl Edwards' part. And boy, Kyle Busch's guys, there's just no quit. And Alan Gustafson and that crew, now they keep bringing him on pit road and making adjustments on the car. He was involved in that 12-car melee. You heard Alan Bestwick telling you they had to come in and beat some of the sheet metal away and get the car back out there. He's gotten back on the lead lap and become a factor. Kyle Busch now being shown the last car on the lead lap.
Jimmy Johnson, he's got a little bit of damage from one of these little bump ups. Still not too bad. He's going to be able to finish the race.
Jimmy showing 2 laps down in 14th position. A victim of tire issues earlier. There's the 1 car on pit road continuing. Working from Jamie.
Tire on.
Hey guys, when Martin Truex just pulled in, there was a loud pop and water just started pouring out from the front of his car there. They were going to add some water. That was the plan. They told Martin to keep it running. Right now the crew's got the Barabond tape. They're trying desperately to make these changes. And Andy, you called it. That fender rub is indeed what caused that right front tire to blow. You see him sawing off some of that sheet metal on the right side there, trying to make the repairs and get to the end, guys.
Watch again the replay here. A record 13th caution flag coming out with just 7 laps to go here. Now watch this right front tire.
This is the loud pop that I think Jamie heard. See this car slide to a stop and bam, there goes that interliner. It's actually another tire inside the big tire. It's an interliner, and that thing just blows out. It has about 60, 70, 80 pounds of air in it, so it'd make a pretty loud noise down there.
Well, one of his big concerns probably is, can I make it without his engine overheating? You saw a ton of water pouring out of Martin Truex's car. I don't see anything coming out now, but the question is there anything left?
He'll make it. Even if the thing has no water in it, it'll run. It won't run good, but it'll run 5 more laps.
Now, NASCAR's rules inside of the final 10 laps as we have a single file restart. The single file restart, how will that impact? Well, that's obviously got to help Mark Martin and Greg Biffle, particularly Biffle with those 4 fresh tires.
Well, it's just going to take those lap down cars and put them behind the lead lap cars and let those guys duke it out for the win without having any interference from somebody that's a lap down.
Well, I think you're going to see Greg Biffle right now strike like a rattlesnake on Mark Martin going into turn 1. He's got those fresh tires and 5 to go, man. He's running out of bullets. He's got to get the job done now.
Intensity level is as high as it's going to be right now.
Biffle never thought he was going to be in this position to win this race. And he's in a shape right now where this can happen. Dave?
And last week, he admitted this week on a television show that he might have let Carl Edwards bye for a place at the end of last week's race at Loudon. The crew was just looking at the facts and saying, you know, if you get around the 0-1, then Carl owes us one, right? So he gives you that spot back, and we win. I don't think that logic will work today, but Greg has a great car trying to get around the 0-1 and then deal with his teammate.
Yeah, I'm betting Carl's not going to give him anything right here.
Coming down, it'll be 4 laps to go when they cross the stripe right there for the restart. Edwards, Martin, Biffle, Earnhardt Jr. Here goes Biffle on the high side of Mark Martin.
And Biffle made that move work on Dale Earnhardt Jr. the last restart, and it worked this time for him.
He did strike like a rattlesnake. His car is great right here.
He didn't think about nothing. He just went for it. And take a look at Dale Jr. underneath Mark Martin right now doing the same thing, but on the bottom side of the track.
3 laps to go, 4 back, 4 back.
Greg Biffle's a hungry race car driver right now.
Biffle's last victory was the season finale at Homestead a year ago. Earnhardt Jr. with 4 fresh tires trying to get beneath the 01 car of Mark Martin.
The last time by, though, Carl Edwards was faster than Greg Biffle, even though Edwards has got older tires. Look at him, putting some distance on him right now. The rear end of the 16 car hung out, going for it.
And these guys are driving hard.
2 laps to go.
Carl Edwards trying to hang on. He has never won at Dover, Delaware. This is his 7th trip to the Monster Mile. And what a monster this racetrack has been today. Smoke billowing from beneath the 1 car right in front of the leaders as they come by. Less than a mile to go for Carl Edwards. Trying to take over the lead in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Trying to become the first driver to lead the NASCAR Busch and the NASCAR Nextel Cup point standings. 2 turns away from victory at the Monster Mile. And here he comes down. Carl Edwards picks up win number 3 in 2007. Guys, as they run up pit road. Carl Edwards, another win on concrete. And how about that great advice from Rusty Wallace? He asked you, do you take tires or don't you?
Oh, man, I tell you, if Biffle would have beat him, they'd have probably blamed that on me. So.
Aren't you glad it worked out?
I'm glad it worked out. I'm staying out of this one.
Well, the fans certainly got their money's worth today. A record 13 caution flags for 66 laps. Let's check in where Alvin is caught up with Bob Osborne.
With the winning crew chief, just one question. How many years did you age through all those late caution flags?
Oh, probably about 50. I don't know. I'm fairly young to have gray hair, that's for sure. So,
dominant performance. Congratulations to you and your team.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
He's going to head to victory lane and watch the flip.
Earlier talking about a young boy in New York with cerebral palsy. He always donates the trophy to some deserving youngster. He doesn't keep them. He said they can mean more to someone else. They can help someone else. That's why I give them away.
It says a lot about the character of Carl Edwards.
It says a lot about him being a race car driver. He's incredible performance today. Kept it out of trouble. Dominated the second half of the race. You really got to feel, though, for Matt Kempson. Unbelievable. Losing that motor.
I still can't get over the lap times that Carl Edwards was able to run at the end of the race. Those 23-second laps were phenomenal.
Carl Edwards will be the winner of this race, by the way, and with Jeff Gordon's 11th place finish, he will actually be the leader in the chase exiting Dover. It'll be Jeff Gordon as the leader, Tony Stewart in second, and Carl Edwards just 3 points back in 3rd spot.
But Jerry, the top 4 positions are within 4 points of each other. Just unbelievable how tight this chase for the championship is right now.
Yeah, final lap with those shuffling of positions between Gordon and Tony Stewart able to get up there. Gordon actually will be the chase leader. You see the 4 points that Rusty is talking about. Kyle Busch only 10 points back in 5th position. Martin Truex in 7th spot in the chase, standing by with Dave.
And getting congratulations from his crew. I think just to bring this thing home, it smolders behind us right now. But Martin, talk about your day, because it was a top 10 day until late in the day.
Yeah, it was a top 5 day late. We worked real hard on our car. It was terrible to start. And we just kept working and working and working. We got it better, and we kept our track position. We stayed on the lead lap like we needed to, and we're sitting pretty there at the end. We had tires, and the car was the best it had been, and you know, the 2 just got in the wall. I don't know what happened. He blew a tire or what he did, but it's just unfortunate. The bad luck bit us today, but you know, it was a decent day. We're gonna have a great finish, and it's just frustrating.
He's got 8 races after this, guys, to make it up.
Well, next week we head to Kansas City. Yes, Kansas City, here we come for stop number 3 on the 10-race chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Championship. Jeff Gordon, the 2-time Kansas City winner, will be the chase points leader. Tony Stewart will be there. And how about Clint Bowyer going back to his native state? No, we weren't in Kansas anymore when Bowyer won in New Hampshire. Now he gets to go home for what should be a shootout next Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern time on ABC. Carl Edwards led a total of 3 times a day for 95 laps. He picks up his 3rd win of 2007. And once again on concrete, it's all about the concrete kid, Carl Edwards in victory lane.
And he's solid as a rock, Doc, in victory lane. And with the win, you move within 3 points of the point lead with just 8 races remaining in the chase. How do you look at things right now, championship-wise?
Well, we just got to keep running like we're running. Just got to say thanks to Office Depot and all the guys to fight back. We had something wrong with the throttle pedal early in the race, and man, I'm excited to go to Kansas. Now, that's going to be great. So I got to thank Coca-Cola and Scott's and World Financial Group, Dish Network, Office Depot, Discount Tire, everybody, all my friends and family back at home. But it's a big win. A lot of guys had bad luck today. It's a huge points day.
It looked like you might have had some bad luck early on with the throttle linkage. What were you thinking when all that went wrong?
I was real nervous. This is not a good place to have your throttle stick. So it was just real, the throttle would stick. So I was having to pull it back up off the floor. But just glad to have Bob Osborne as a crew chief. He gets the Smart Guy of the Race award. He's a genius.
Well, congratulations.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
Carl Edwards picks up his 3rd victory of 2007. Doc?
Congratulations to our race winner, Carl Edwards, our chase leader, Jeff Gordon. Coming up next, except on the West Coast ABC's World News or your local news over most of these ABC stations. It has been a slugfest today at the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware, but Carl Edwards got it done, picking up his 3rd win of 2007. Thanks for watching ESPN on ABC.